What is up, everybody? Hello again from a campfire. Someone is camping with the internet and is watching the live stream. That's amazing. Chris, WRQI. Thanks for watching, bud. Awesome. Hey, everybody. Thanks for tuning in to the after chat. So the after chat's pretty simple, right? We join our Discord. Here, the link is in the description if you want to join us. We have a huge Discord full of many smart people. And we go into the voice chat, and we listen to your questions, and we answer them. That's the whole point. And it could be on YouTube chat, could be on Twitch chat, could be on any of the chats, but we really like it if you take the time to join us on the audio chat, because then we can answer your questions like literally live, and you can get the feedback you're so desperately seeking to navigate the troubling waters of ham radio. So, yeah, hey, hi from Twitch chat. See, we got people over on the Twitch. Appreciate you watching. Appreciate that a lot. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and hop directly into the Discord, and we are going to say hi to our friends over there. So let's see who's with us right now. All right.
Do it.
There we go. Very good.
It's off of a recommendation for the cost of the service to process the licensing
Paperwork, yeah.
Yeah.
Because we had it over here, we used to have a license fee, and they actually found that they used to charge £15, but it actually cost £25 to process it.
Mike, I paid for my CB license. I got a CB license. I had to pay for it. That was in 70-something, 77, 78, probably even before that.
Oh,
I'm
hello.
repeating.
Hello.
Hi, John. Sitting here.
Hey, sorry guys, cacophony of noise. Just want to say I have joined. We are live right now. So everybody on the Discord, your voice is making it out to the YouTubes. Really, first of all, appreciate the Smoking Ape who's joined us out here. We also have Mike K8MRD and K6ARK, the man, the myth, the legend, the antenna wizard, Adam. So let's do the first things first, because Smoking Ape, he's not with us most of the time on the after chat, so I want to make sure we make the best use of his time. So if there's anybody that's followed on from the last stream, if you have questions on testing equipment, or possibly making videos about testing equipment, or making sure your radio is the best it could be, and whether or not you should send it back to Amazon, I want to hear all those questions right now. Let's take them first and foremost, which is a bit different than when we do things. But please, if you got questions, come forward right now. Anybody, anywhere, let's go.
Question.
Paul. Let's go Paul first. I heard him with the unmistakable voice, the man in Florida. Go for it, Paul.
I would like to know what is better, Miller Lite or Miller High Life?
Well, Miller High Life's the champagne of beers, right? So, I mean, you have to.
It is the champagne of bottlers.
Right, but I'm going to go with Miller Lite strictly because it's a 6-time gold medal champion beer. They did win a silver medal as well, but I usually don't talk about that.
And I heard the High Life.
I have definitely dabbled in Miller High Life. I actually, on a very hot summer day after a good mowing of the lawn or any strenuous work, I have definitely drank a Miller High Life before. I'm also kind of a Modelo fan, but that's from being in California, so it's Modelo time somewhere as far as I'm concerned.
Man, we're getting to the most important questions first.
I know. This is the best. This is amazing.
Thank you, Professor A.
Thank you. So what's the next question? There was someone else in there. Go for it.
Yeah, the next question's for me, Josh, WX7JM. What's the best way to test if your finals are failing? Or before they fail, what's the best way of indication?
I ain't got no power in it. But go ahead, Abe. What do you think?
Yeah, that's the thing I would do. See how much power you're getting. But the other one is that I would put waveform. So you can do like a 1 kilohertz tone modulated on like an FM or AM frequency, and you should get a really clean looking sinusoidal wave. And if you're getting like saturation in your finals or even in your amp that you're using outside of your rig, taking place in there, your sine wave will be messy, right? And so that's one of the ways to do that.
You got broken up a little bit. Could you hit like the 2 high points of that again? Because your internet like failed just slightly. Go for it again.
Sorry about that. Yeah,
No,
what I would do is I would, yeah, just like my license. I would do a power test first and foremost and see if it was consistent with the way that I did previous power tests to see the power output. The other thing I would do is I would do a 1 kilohertz tone, like at on top of that, look at the
so between those two things, I think we got all of it. But yeah, your internet started to crash a little bit. I don't know what's going on there, which was actually kind of cool. I guess lucky that the live stream went as well as it did, because yeah, I know sometimes you have issues with your internet, but it only showed up like right now in the after chat. Maybe a Discord thing, maybe the path they're taking for Discord. I don't know. Are you back?
It's this Nebraska internet service provider.
That's it. All right, let's get some more questions in there. Anybody with a question on the live stream? So like test equipment questions, right? Like let's talk about something, that the any ham, or maybe you want to spend some more dollars and the baller ham can get into. Go ahead.
I have one.
I saw Frank, I think, first, so I'll go Frank first. KG6NLW. Sorry, go ahead.
Hi, Josh. Hi, Abe. Why the Nano VNA versus a RigExpert? What's so great about it versus the RigExpert? I'm looking to hopefully get one here in the near future, and I'm not sure which way I want to go.
Good question.
So I don't own a RigExpert, and I would never spend the money on one. I'm not saying they're not good, and I'm not saying they're not quality, but for me, the NanoVNA has 2 ports, and then I can inject signals into a secondary port from the primary. And that allows me to do 2 port measurements, which allows me to look at things.
So yeah, to just reiterate some of Abe's point there, because he started to break up a little bit. You can't do through testing with a RigExpert. You need something that is a proper VNA, a vector network analyzer. So what he's talking about is not like doing an antenna SWR test or a resonance test, which you can do with this stuff. Through test is actually really good for like filters, right? We talked about that a little bit on the live stream, where you've got one side going in and you have another piece coming out. Well, you got to measure that, and you use something like a network vector analyzer to do that. So important point, good point there, Abe.
And
right.
Abe does own a $400 VNA, by the way.
That's network. That's RigExpert money there. No, I mean, don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. It's a tool. If you think about it, it's test equipment. We're calling it test equipment, right? But it's a tool. Its job is to give you measurements, right? And human beings, we love measurements, and sometimes the best measurement tool is something you drag into the field for the antenna you're going to put up in the field. And so in those cases, I like the RigExpert sticks, particularly the e-ink displays. They look really good. The sun, it doesn't matter the direction they're coming at it. Looks fantastic. You're going to pay more money for that, no question, and it's limited on what it can do, but it still does it does a lot for the money from my point of view. But I agree with Abe, but everything he said is spot on. So who's next? Questions on the live stream. Test equipment. Was that James? James?
Yes, sir.
Go ahead.
Okay, I did a dumb thing and left my MFJ 269 out in the rain. The display doesn't work anymore. The question for Abe is a TinySA and a NanoVNA a replacement for that tool?
Yeah, no doubt. You'll get a lot more functionality, even just with a NanoVNA, than you would with that. But I would open that baby up and I'd switch that. I'd buy a new display and put it in there and see if you can fix it.
Did you try?
That's what I needed to know.
Did you try putting 30 pounds of rice in that shoebox? So, really great point too. The NanoVNA is really the only thing you need to replace an antenna analyzer. You don't necessarily need an SA. SAs have different abilities.
The SA you said would do a signal generation. Is that correct?
Correct.
So if I've got a 2 meter that I know is out of tune, I can theoretically tune with that. Correct?
Correct.
So bam, I've got 2 birds killed with 1 stone. But I will see if I can get a new display for that 269.
Yeah, you do understand that the TinySA will not do SWR sweeps, right?
It does not do SWR sweeps, right?
Oh no, I need both feed tools is what I'm trying to.
Oh, okay.
I need both a hammer and some pliers, right? They're different tools, right?
Thank you.
Right on, James. Appreciate it. Anybody else in there with a first-timer question, particularly, well, not first-timer question. Sorry, it's wide open. We want to make sure we're getting all the questions answered for test equipment. People who want to consider, like, testing out your radios, your antennas, whatever. This is the time. If you have questions, please come forward on the Discord.
I got a question.
Go for it, Don.
Hey, Ape, how do you measure receiver front-end overload?
Oh, God.
Why not?
Well, I know you're going to talk about the 73.
No, I'm not. I'm just asking how to measure it.
No.
I'm just asking how to measure it.
So I've tested it, and what I've done is that I inject a signal at I think it's negative 72 dB, which is an S9 signal, into my antenna port, and I should see an S9 on my meter when that happens.
Oh.
And so I actually did a video, and it didn't happen. And it was a result of I had my RF gain turned down, and I didn't have the RF gain fully open, which is one way I deal with that OFE or OBF light is by adjusting my RF gain. But that's exactly how I would test for it.
I love that. Hey, Ape, we got a question on the YouTube. Question is, how do you figure out how much attenuation I need for the TinySA?
So the TinySA Ultra can handle about +6 dBm. And so we use the term dBm because it's in reference to 1 milliwatt of power. So what I want to do is I want to make sure that any signal that I'm injecting in there is less than that, significantly less, like 20 dB down. So if I'm doing a HT, which is 5 watts, is like +37 dBm, a 40 dB attenuator will get me down to around -6, which I should be in a safe zone, but I'll typically attenuate 40 or 50 dB
Really?
for anything less than 50 watts or less.
Okay. So everybody consider the power output of the injection device, right? So if it's a handheld, it's like 5 watts, something like that, right? So you have to have the appreciable dBs to knock that down, I think is where we're going with that, right?
Yeah, and I've got tons of videos on how to do all those tests with the TinySA, and I go through attenuators and how I use them and all that stuff if you want to check them out.
Well, there you go. Links in the description for Smokin' Ape. Make sure you click that button for him, and please do give him the love in subscribing, because he's going to walk you through a lot of this stuff, which is, it's an important skill. It as Ape said, he's like, hey, I got the TinySA, and I'm like, what the hell is this thing? And then he spent more time with it. He learned it. He's just like all of us. And now he's at the point where he's like, yeah, no, I have a pretty good understanding of this. So here's my explaining it to you. Consider how valuable that is. Somebody who's just like all of us, like just using this stuff, getting smarter with it, and then chooses to make videos. That's why I like this guy. So I appreciate you, Abe.
Thanks. Yeah, and it was the same thing with the NanoVNA. When I got that, I was like, what the hell are all these buttons and screens? And, just you have to use it and figure it out.
Yeah, exactly. There's a, I don't know, I don't want to go on a soapbox, but there's sometimes like a feeling, I think, people who are new to ham radio get. It's like, oh, these people were gifted this skill by something, like this foreign supernatural presence. No, it's just we've just been doing it longer than you have. We have some of the tools, and we can play around with it and experiment and practice, and that's what a lot of this comes down to. And Ape's an example of that. He's spent a lot of time using this stuff, and his skill is evident in the videos he makes. So let's see. We got another question on the YouTube. Question: what will the TinySA do that the NanoVNA won't? Fantastic question. Go for it. If you can, Ape, go for it, please.
So with the with the NanoVNA, you're really measuring your device. So it's a network vector analyzer. So it allows you to look at networks. And as crazy as it sounds, your transmission cable is considered a network. It has 2 ports, one in and one out.
Sure.
When you look at a TinySA, or the TinySA Ultra is the one I would look at, it allows you to analyze signals. And that's a little bit different. So you typically would see on your vertical axis, you can see dB on both of them, but you would see dB over frequency on your horizontal axis is frequency on the TinySA, and it would allow you to see where your signal is transmitting, the power of your signal, and then the characteristics of your signal, like bandwidth, occupied bandwidth, for example.
There you go. So I hope everybody got that. So I hope that made perfect sense to me. I hope everybody got it, because that's an important difference. Right, so you use a network vector analyzer for like an antenna, like a circuit, like a thing, a part of the system. The SA is for the transmitted signal. Yeah. So, anybody on the Discord with a question?
Yeah, question.
Go for it. Oh, is that the Mike K murder?
That would be the one and only K murder.
Okay.
How is everybody?
Man. Appreciate you in the chat, man. Appreciate it. Go for it.
Yeah. Great stream tonight.
Thank you.
So the NanoVNA is a lot of people get it because it's cheap and it can be used as an antenna analyzer. So my question is, and I have a NanoVNA, I don't do much with it, but in terms of calibration, so like if I'm constantly checking antennas, say between let's just say between 80 and 6 meters, if I calibrate the NanoVNA for those frequencies, how stable is that? Is this something like, if I go to a POTA, do I want to calibrate this every time, or are they pretty stable? Like, what's the best practice for that?
You can save it in your NanoVNA. So NanoVNA has a number of sweet points. Its default setting is 101. Some of the nicer ones you can get up to 401, 501. With the software, you can do unlimited, basically, data points, and that's how many times across your frequency span it's going to actually collect data. So 80 through 6 is pretty big. What I do is I have 40 through 6 saved in slot 1, and that's typically what I would operate on. And then I would do calibrations for 80 meters, maybe 60 meters if you're going to use that. I know Don does. 40, just those bands in particular, so I can get a more granular sweep of those. And once you save them, you should be fine. Now, the reason the NanoVNA people calibrate it all the time is that I may have a new piece of coax that I use field deployed versus home deployed in my QTH. And I might want to include that transmission line as part of my reference plane. So if I just want to analyze the antenna, I would calibrate at the end of that transmission line versus calibrating at the port on the VNA itself. So it really depends on what the test setup you're going to do. But for mine that I take out, like I mostly operate in the backyard. I'm not a POTA guy. What I would do is I would just use my saved calibration 40 through 6 connected to my transmission line as I would plug it into the radio. Do a sweep without calibration and feel perfectly fine.
All right, that makes sense. I didn't even think about saving different calibrations. So cool. Well, thanks for answering my question, Mr. the Smoking Ape.
Yeah, man, and you know how to hit me up, brother. So if you have any questions about any of that stuff, go ahead and do it, and we can catch up.
I do. I have the Smoking Ape's phone number.
Oh, now he's just showing off.
Well, I got to tell you, one time Mike was live streaming, and I was enjoying some gold medal championship beer, and I just thought it would be funny. I called you, Mike, during the live stream. This is actually, I think, when we did the first YouTubers Hamfest, and just as my name started to pop up on your screen, you had minimized the window switch, and I was like, "Oh damn," because I didn't realize.
Oh jeez.
I didn't realize
I had your name in. I have since deleted it though, so it's only the Smoking Ape.
Awesome, man.
There you go. Very good. All right. Anybody else? Let's answer all those hot questions on ham radio test equipment. Anybody else in the chat who wants to talk about that? Go for it.
I've got a question, Josh, but just to point something out.
Yeah, go for it, Mike.
You have a old piece of test equipment that is a very interesting piece of kit. It's called a heterodyne frequency meter. It's a BC221. It's that funny looking box you got with the hinged front and a little book.
Yes, I do.
Right? I've got the Navy version, which is an LM14.
Yeah.
That piece of equipment is a wonderful bit of test equipment. It's basically a harmonically driven signal generator.
Yep. So Mike, go ahead and continue. I want to pontificate on your point, but you're. Oh, I love it. I love you brought me into this.
That was basically what the U.S. Army used to use to calibrate their receivers in the field while they were being shot at.
Yes.
Once they come back from a raid or something. But I got one very early in my career and was calibrating my own receiver with it. And I had immense fun with that thing. It even can be made into an ad hoc transmitter if you literally put 50 foot of wire on the end of the thing and use the Morse key to key the aerial, because it puts out about 5 watts. So it actually, if you can get hold of the service manual for it, it actually tells you don't use more than 3 foot of wire, otherwise the enemy may hear you. It then goes ahead to tell you where to shoot it in case the enemy want to confiscate it from you. So it's a very weird bit of kit, but it's a super interesting one.
Yeah. So I literally have this vintage box. It's literally a wooden box with a fold down piece of kit, like the lid, and it's got flappy cards that flip out. And that device, I have heard from multiple people, is the device that won the war on the Pacific, because it allowed all their radios to be consistent on the same frequencies, to be able to talk to each other. That device is what did it. If it wasn't for that, then it would have been too difficult to be able to make contact. Because remember, at that time, a lot of these, tube radios, particularly all the coastal watchers, all the coast watchers, everybody that was like literally just pedaling on a generator. They didn't have batteries. They were pedaling on a generator to provide power to a tube, transmitting and receive station. They used that device to be able to sync everything up so that they could talk. And if it wasn't for that, we might not have won the Pacific War in World War II. Even before Hiroshima or Nagasaki or anything like that. Like that is the device that did it. And what is that? It's a piece of test equipment. So really, really fantastic point, Mike. That's amazing. Thank you for bringing that up. I love that. Let's see. Anybody else? Oh, Digital Rancher's in the house too, man. Appreciate you hanging out. Let's see. Who else is in the Discord? Like to ask a question for the ape here, because we got him. So let's do that.
Say, Ape, I asked you something a while back in chat on CAR. When are you going to, or are you planning on at some point, testing the purity and output of the Sun SDR DX on VHF?
Oh.
Well, I'm nervous about doing it. I'm sure it's going to pass. But I'm afraid,
we hope it does. Cross the fingers.
Yeah.
Right?
I'll get it set up done. I just haven't.
Yeah.
So I have all my stuff in the basement, in my man cave, I guess is what you'd call it. But the Sun SDR is actually up in the bedroom upstairs that I use. So it's just disconnecting everything and getting it down here. But I'll do it and see what it looks like.
Yeah, I'd just be curious on the VHF side. I'm fairly confident on. Well, in fact, I've just from my own observations using the thing and watching it on the SDRs around me, I don't see any issues on HF. But on VHF, I've always kind of wondered, because it seems like that's just kind of an add-on that they put in there. And for a while, the software didn't even work very well. But they've got the software working pretty well, from what I understand.
Well, you might be on version 3 of the software, because I've had trouble with it. Yeah, I've had trouble with it working on version 2. I think it's 8 watts of output is what it is for 2. Yeah. I'll tell you what, I'll test it right after I test the Hermes Lite 2.
Yeah.
Yeah, so,
but again, that's on HF, and it's pretty pure as well. Especially if you run pure signal, and you guys are worried about harmonics and all that. You run pure signal, you don't have that problem. Period. And yet nobody does it except Anand. Even Sherwood said that.
here we go.
So I did a video where I tested one of those amplifiers that you can get for like $150 or whatever. There's 50 watt, and it was dirty on 20 meters. So there's a band selection knob for which filters you're going to use, and I think it was 2015 and 12 maybe are all the same one. 2015, 17, 15, and 12, and so a lot of times people test a radio and think it's good, and an amplifier just amplifies the signal, comes into it. The amplifier can fall victim to harmonics and spurious emissions, just like any other transmitter. So it's kind of interesting to test that as well.
Which is why, if you're going to run pure signal, you put the tap at the back of the amplifier, not at the back of the radio. And then you have to have the proper attenuator on the amplifier to feed back into the radio so you don't overload the radio. And so that's what I actually do with my Mercury. So that little joke you were making about it being dirty, there ain't no way mine's dirty.
Rolling dirty.
When using pure signal anyway.
Right. I always do.
All right, let's go back to the we got a question on the YouTube. So TinySA for transmitters, whereas a NanoVNA is used for antennas, among other things they can do. Would that be fair to say? So the only thing I'll say on the essay, and I'll handle this, and I'll let Ape jump in. The TinySA is like a radio, basically. Like you could put just an antenna on it, and it will show you the spectrum range that you tell it to display. And that will show you all the weird little spurs and all that stuff that you need to go hunt down for doing RFI and whatnot. But if you connect it directly to a radio, it will show you where it is putting a signal out outside of what you think the fundamental frequency is. So fundamental frequency I used a lot on the live stream. That's the frequency the radio says, hey, that's what I'm transmitting on. But then when the fundamental frequency also starts showing peaks and valleys across the wide swath of RF space, those are all spaces that radio could be transmitting on. So yeah, that's what tells you it's dirty. The NanoVNA it's for antennas, and it's for physical devices like filters and all other stuff that could become part of the radio to help out this latter thing, the spectrum analyzer thing we're talking about. But Ape, what would you add to that?
I think that's a pretty good explanation. The one thing that my TinySA Ultra actually has a headphone port on it, so you can actually listen to it as a receiver. So to your point, and a lot of spectrum analyzers have that functionality. So think about the spectrum analyzer, the TinySA, as the band scope on your 7300 that allows you to look at the signals that you want to monitor, analyze, or any of that kind of stuff. And then, like Josh said, the NanoVNA is for actually testing how well that signal is going to pass through a device.
Yeah. I love it. I love it when Ape says I did something right. You don't know, man. We're in the chats with Ape, and he keeps us honest. He keeps us honest. Let me just say that. So let's give a shout out to the Ape and everybody watching from the last live stream. If you have questions on test equipment or anything that you might be interested in regarding this whole space we're talking about, could be antenna analyzers, TinySA, network vector analyzers, or maybe just looking up something on eBay, go ahead. Particularly on the Discord, we'd love to hear your voice, but we'll also take your YouTube comments. Go ahead.
Question.
Go ahead, James. Go for it.
This might seem odd or a little bit over the top, but could you use the SA as an ALC to verify that your ALC is working, let's say while you're running FT8?
No, so a lot of people ask that question around how do you put the TinySA in line so you can monitor things like that. And as far as I'm aware, you really can't. Now I have, and I was going to show it on the show tonight, but we didn't get to it. I have a video on it. I made an RF tap that you can put in line with your coaxial cable, and you could feed that signal into your TinySA, and you could look at it that way. But if you have a 7300, and I know I'm doing a lot of icon plugin, or a 705, the band scope, I imagine some of the ASUS have this as well. The band scope function does have an oscilloscope, a simple waveform analysis tool that you can look at there. And what's handy about that is you can look and see if you're like clipping or overdriving your FT8, and you can clean it up that way. Typically by turning down the power. I would turn down the power in the software is how I do that. But as far as the TinySA, probably not their best tool for that.
There you go. All right, who's next?
All right, let's try this again here. See if y'all can hear me.
Hello, guys.
D. Paul. I saw D. Paul first. Go for it.
Hey. All right, I had to get my audio working there. A bit of a noob question here, and y'all talking about some of this stuff sort of sparked my mind to think about it. So your SWR is like the accuracy of your signal to the line. Is there something short of a remote station that can test the efficiency of that signal coming off your line?
Yeah, so there is a thing called a field strength meter, and so I actually have a video where I built one based off a QST article, and you may want to check that out. With the field strength meter, what you can do is you can actually place it around your antenna, and when you transmit, it's more around seeing the radiation pattern that's coming off of there, but you can also use it to get a reference point of the power that's coming out of your antenna, and then maybe you make a change, like upgrade your coaxial cable to something less lossy, run the test again, and then you should see a higher reading on the field strength meter. And when I first made mine, it was really like $3 in parts, and I plugged it into a multimeter. I was able to use the reading on the multimeter. So it's a pretty simple project to build that way. Another thing you can do is just use WebSDR, or I think the other one's called Lime SDR, Kiwi SDR maybe, and that would allow you to record and observe your signal at another station. You'll be able to hear how you sound when you're getting out.
Appreciate that. Yeah, the WebSDR, I don't know if it's just because I'm using wires and an IC705 or not. I'm not getting out much on that. Now, I get responses from people, but when I'm looking at the SDR, I just like have a real hard time finding my signal anywhere.
Yeah, the other thing you could do is you could set up an SDR connected to a laptop, like an RTL SDR dongle or something like that. But I would do it with some distance from your transmitting antenna, and maybe you could like set it up at a buddy's house or something like that, remote control it, and then you'd be able to see your signal on the SDR that way.
Oh, that sounds good. I appreciate the info.
All right.
Yeah, man.
Let's take a moment to give a shout out to the other YouTubers that are on the chat right now. So we have Adam K6ARK. What's going on, man? Are you there, Adam? Adam's cooking dinner right now, I bet.
Well, he was typing in the chat.
Well, yeah, sorry.
Oh, there you go. There you go. How's it going,
Just
man?
takes a minute to get the mute button. It is going well. I'm actually working on some packing for the Oregon soda campout that's coming up in a couple of weeks. Heading up to Oregon for a few days, and I have an interesting challenge because I bought a discount airline ticket, and I'm if I want to keep it super cheap, I'm limited to a relatively small personal item. They call it smaller than a typical carry-on, and technically a limit of 5 kilograms. So I need all my gear for camping for the weekend and doing soda up there in a tiny bag that doesn't weigh much. So that's what I'm working on right now, trying to figure out how I'm going to make that happen.
What does kilos translate to pounds?
About, what is that, 12 and a half or 13 pounds?
You can do that ultralight. So you can do that ultralight camping, but I know Adam, he's going to want to bring some radio equipment. So how are you doing that, Adam? That's going to be really interesting.
Yeah, well, I think I'm going to have to make a video of the loadout for this trip, but the primary radios are going to be the little Mountain Topper MTR2B, which the whole kit without the mast weighs, I think, about 6 ounces. And then the mast is another 5.6 ounces. So 3/4 of a pound for the entire HF kit. And then I'm going to bring a VX3R for the handheld.
Oh, man, I love it. So Adam and I are also planning a backpacking trip, which will be next month. And I am thinking, I'm literally studying every day. I'm thinking about doing it CW only, but I think I'm going to wuss out. I'm probably going to go with the KX2 because I've got soda and POTA opportunities, so I don't know. I am trying. I'm trying. I really do want to be more proactive with CW, so I am studying right now. So, Adam, best of luck to you, man. I appreciate that.
Yeah, thank you. Chasers are very courteous and patient, so I think you'll be fine.
Good.
Yes.
There was a comment from Jason. Was it Jason? The other Jason.
Me.
Oh, James. Sorry, James. Go for it.
Are you gonna wear all the clothes that you're gonna have so that you'll have radio equipment?
Yeah, I'm gonna Chandler Bing all the clothes. Could I be wearing any more clothes? Yeah, no. That's actually an important thing. We've been talking about that. I'm bringing my oldest with me. There are mosquitoes the size of Dobermans, so it's not just Texas that has big mosquitoes, but we're expecting some mosquitoes and other bugs. We're gonna pack accordingly.
Yeah, didn't want to interrupt the conversation. I'm 13 minutes late for the Hallmark Channel movie of the week.
Hey, thank you so much for taking your time. Please feel free to hop out at any moment. Thank you so much for hopping on the after chat. We appreciate you, man.
No, I had a great time. Thanks for having me on the show. It was fun, and thanks everybody. If anybody has any questions or anything like that they do want to ask, you can hit me up on Discord, and I'll get back to you. It might take me a little while, but I'll get back to you.
Please subscribe to the Smokin' Ape YouTube channel. Everybody watching, if you're interested in this, please subscribe to this man. Ape, thank you so much for taking the time and being with us. I really do appreciate it.
Yep. Thanks. Had a great time, and take care, everybody.
All right.
Thanks, Abe.
All right. So next, we've got one, Jason, KC5HWB, Ham Radio 2.0. Are you there, man? Oh, maybe.
It keyed up.
I'm seeing the key up.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, go for it, man. You're good. You made it.
Okay. I wasn't sure I had my button in the right place. What's up?
Where you at, man? What are you doing?
I am at home. I'm actually putting together an email to go out tomorrow to my email list about my live stream tomorrow night, but also putting together a schedule for Monday Night Ham Radio. Did you talk about that?
We did, yeah. So Monday Night Ham Radio has not been a thing for a little while. Jason, you want to add some more to that? Go for it, man. Go for it.
Yeah, so we've talked a little bit about. I didn't catch the whole stream, Josh. Sorry, but
oh, never mind. Mute yourself.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding. Go ahead.
We've talked a little bit about bringing Monday Night Ham Radio back on like a monthly or quarterly basis. So we're gonna do something Monday, 2 days from now. So it looks like right now I've got 8 if you count Tio, as Tio does his ham nugget stream every Monday night at 6. So so we're gonna do 7 videos leading up to his time slot, and starting at about 4:20 in the afternoon, Texas time, Central time. So there'll be 7 of us doing videos that just kind of back to back each other, and then it'll end with T. And I don't know if Kyle still does his. Kyle's got a video in this lineup. I don't know if he's doing his CW learning thing later that night after TO or not.
Ping him, but I think he. Well, I think he was trying every week, but I think he slid off a little bit. So I don't know.
Yeah.
We'll contact
Actually,
him.
I don't know if y'all heard or not. Kyle's mother fell and I think hurt her hip or broke her hip or something like that.
Not good.
So I think she's okay, but I was talking to him earlier yesterday, I think, about plans for the happy hour and trivia this month, and he's like, I'm gonna have to sit this one out because I'm gonna be helping my mom for the next few weeks. So say something to Kyle if you guys talk to him. But so Monday, so my live stream's tomorrow night, obviously, but Monday night should be a pretty fun event. We'll see how it goes as to whether we do it again next month or maybe every other month, something like that. I don't know. We haven't decided that part yet. We're just going to kind of see how this one goes and go from there and see what happens.
So oddly enough, while you're typing that, Jason, Nature's Child asked, does anyone put out a YouTuber live stream schedule? And the answer is no.
Well, what do you mean by schedule?
Well, I mean, schedule for everybody that's YouTubing every week. Like, I mean,
so that
nobody's doing that right now. Kind of.
That used to exist at youtubershamfest.com.
Sure.
Beer Snack had a schedule up there for a while. That was everyone who live streamed on a regular basis every week or every other week or something like that. He had that schedule up there. We have not, and this is not Dan's fault, but we have not kept up with updating him on that. So, and we changed the YouTubers are a fickle bunch, guys. I don't know if y'all have noticed this or not, but Don in the background. We've changed some stuff around. Josh and I are pretty consistent in our weekend streams, but there's a couple other people that do stuff kind of here and there and change dates or change times or whatever, and that's cool. But it's a challenging task to keep up with. But I'll hit up Beer Snack sometime next week and see. Hey, just give him the latest schedule that I know of, and get him to update that. But yeah, if you go to youtubershamfest.com, everything is there. It may or may not be 100% accurate. It's not 100% accurate. It may be like 80-90% accurate, but it'll give you a good.
I think this is a fantastic time to say, if you like a creator, click the bell for when they produce something,
right?
Because that is how you get notified on whatever.
I get nothing from that.
Connect your email, Don. Connect your email.
I do, and
Let
I
us
get
spam you.
The
Let
only
us spam
emails
you
I
in the
get.
email.
The only emails I get are from Patreon. That's the only ones.
It's the YouTube bell notification works sometimes.
Yeah.
I get notified on some channels. I never get notified on Josh's anything. I don't know why, Josh. But I don't get
shadow
notified on
banned.
yours.
I'm shadow banned. I'm shadow
Probably
banned,
so.
guys. I'm
Probably
shadow
so.
banned.
Yeah.
But it's I get notified when Mike does something. I get notified when who else? Somebody else. I think Hayden and KM4ACK. I get notified when and I've bell notified from all the channels that all the ham radio channels that I follow, and it's very inconsistent. But yeah, I mean, Josh's answer is correct. In a perfect world, if it actually worked, yeah, click the bell notification. You should get notified.
But I think, and I have a conspiracy theory about that.
Oh, here we go.
I think the reason that it doesn't work is that they want you to use it for your phone, so you get phone notifications, so they have your phone number. And I will not do that. Not for YouTube or anybody else.
As a phone technician, Don, what do you have to fear? Giving them their phone number.
Oh no, we're not going
anything. I get it on the app on my phone. Is that what you mean, or you mean a text message?
No, a text, like a text notification.
I don't get any. I
I
do
a
my
burner phone.
No, I turn that off, man.
I do my own texting.
Yeah, I was going to go burner.
Yeah, I do my own texting service, as most of you know. But no, I get the notification through the YouTube app on my phone. That's where it comes through for me.
Yeah, for a while, your stuff was blocked on my phone as spam. Like AT&T flagged it, and then recently, whoever owns that service that you're using has got them to unblock it. So
you're right. That was an issue. I'm actually about to change services, but I was getting that from several people. But bulk text messaging is it is. It's a mess. It's good luck. That's all I gotta say. Good luck.
your emails and everybody that I'm like subscribed to on Patreon, I get all of those to my email. But yeah, YouTube, I get nothing.
Analog flip phone.
I should definitely be posting the live streams to Patreon. So thank you for mentioning that, Don. I'm not doing that right now.
I would appreciate it.
Yeah,
I'm
very consistent in the sense that like my same time, that's my time.
Well, the ones I miss are like all of a sudden it'll pop up and say, "Oh, Josh just reviewed this radio," and other than that, I would not have seen it.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah. So I'd appreciate that.
Okay. I hear you. Well, I did review a radio. I did. It's right here. It's the one covered in the box. Hold on. Oh, where is it? Oh, it's right there under the TinySA. Oh, it's that guy. It's the green one. The Wooshun. That was a
you've reviewed that? I haven't seen that.
Well, yeah. Well, it's on for Patreon right now. You can watch it on Patreon.
Oh, okay. Yeah, a lot of times I'll specifically not do the Patreon and wait for it to come out live.
You just said the only thing that notifies you is Patreon.
And
then you're ignoring the Patreon.
Right.
So Dawn, I don't know what you're I'm getting mixed messages. I'm getting mixed signals right now.
I get that, but I like to for instance, Mike's videos and stuff.
Yeah.
I will specifically go and wait for him to premiere
so
I can go on and be in the chat. I love the chat, man.
Good.
You know that.
Yes, of
Thanks,
course.
Don.
Speaking of Mike, 1K at MRD, sometimes called the K Murder. He's in the chat right now. What are you up to, man? How you doing?
I'm doing well, thank you. And I was just sitting here thinking, every time I'm on and you go through all the YouTubers, it's like I'm waiting for that DX station that's going by the numbers. And being an 8 call, I'm always last.
No, you are right now, but you shouldn't be. I mean,
8 calls are last.
K's, you're like middle of the pack.
Okay,
there's just nobody. There's no YouTubers after you. Is kind of the point, right? I think.
I know. I'm making a funny anecdote that didn't go over well.
Anecdoted.
Let us know when
I'm doing well.
when you're going to start being funny.
Anecdotal.
I will start being funny next week. Starting next week.
I just put it on my calendar.
All
right. Put it in put it in the Google Calendar for the YouTubers.
So what has been going on with you, man?
I'm currently sitting on my front porch, playing a little FT8 on 20 meters. I don't see you, but I just worked a couple Russian stations, getting some DX coming in on 20, so that's pretty cool. And just enjoying it. Even I had a cigar while you guys were doing the live stream there, and it was delicious. It was just a cheapo, but it was still pretty good. A couple pops, and that's about it. I got they just released to the Patreon. The Patreon, are they patrons? Yes,
patrons. Yeah.
Next Monday's or this Monday's Mailbag Monday video where we talk about is 2 antennas better than 1? Interesting subject. I've already had some good feedback on that.
At the same time,
for one frequency at the same time.
Yeah.
And I thought that was a really interesting question.
Andy Cowley says, great stream last night, Mike.
Well, that's because it was the Andy Cowley Friday Night FT8 extravaganza.
That's right.
It was a good stream.
I've been wanting to do, thank you. I've been wanting to do for a while. I came up with that idea sometime when I was doing the Tech Tuesdays, and I think I just posted in the live chat to Andy that I wanted to do that and name it after him, because he's just always there everywhere.
Oh yeah.
So if you guys aren't getting notifications, Andy's really the one to tell you how to get those notifications, because he's just always there. But I do think you need to hit the bell on the app on your phone. So I just looked on my computer, and I'm subscribed to you, obviously, and I have the bell checked. I never get notifications for anyone. I just always have a tab open on my browser to YouTube, and I just get refreshed periodically throughout the day. And you kind of know, you kind of learn everybody's schedule. Like, I'm always at 3:00. Jason started going at 2:30. You're always Saturday night at 7 for me, 5U. Right. So yeah, we haven't been really keeping up on a schedule or a website or anything. Maybe that's something we should add to all of our descriptions. Is like when every channel goes and posts videos. So I think we all kind of post them, individually at our own times. That might be an idea if we just put a link to the YouTubers bunch, whatever the heck it is, website, so people can follow along. That might be a good idea. Maybe, I don't know.
Well,
Frank used to do that. Keep it up.
The thing to remember is, if you think about a day, so Saturday is kind of my day, and then Sunday is Jason's day in the early afternoon. So T.O. does ham nuggets on Monday morning, and then Tuesday, and I think also Thursday. Mike, help me out, but Mike is kind of doing the live streams for the lunch hour, around 1:30 and whatnot. Go ahead.
Carr is Saturday morning and Thursday night, and T.O. is Monday night on Nuggets every week. And then Dave Kassler, and I don't think y'all pay much attention to him, but he's always Thursday night now.
I try and watch him as much as I can,
yeah.
but Mike, when are you
Your
live?
Ham
Mike?
Nation every other week, right?
Wednesday, yeah.
Right.
And that unfortunately, like, that is the time we just live. We just go live. Mike, what's your live stream? Mike, what's your live stream schedule?
You talking to me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't have a live stream. Well, it used to be. So it used to be every Tuesday. I'm always, anytime I do anything on YouTube, unless it's just off the cuff like last night, it's at 3 p.m. Central.
Mm-hmm.
So Monday, Wednesday, Friday, every 3 p.m. Central, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, I have a video. I used to live stream. I did a Technician Tuesday on Tuesday at 3 p.m. where I would live stream and get on 10 meters and call CQ, and just to kind of show technicians what you could do with 10 meters. But 10 meters has kind of sucked the last few months, so I haven't been doing that. Now, Steve from Temporarily Offline and I have been talking about bringing that back. So I think we're going to go live this Tuesday and just talk about things pertinent to technicians.
Mm-hmm.
And help, because that's like the entire, gosh, I've been on YouTube, 4 or 5 years now. Sure. My entire YouTube career has been predominantly just HF stuff and portable stuff and antenna stuff. Not too many things that pertain to technicians. So I want to kind of capture that market and, hopefully promote positivity and inclusivity like I try and do with everything else. And just like you've done with the ham radio crash course. I mean, your videos are kind of how I got into ham radio, sort of.
Well, thank you. Appreciate that.
Well, I found your videos.
I like that
after
sort of at the end. That was very nice.
Well, so I mean, I've known about ham radio my whole life. My dad's
sure.
ham.
Yeah.
But then when I got into ham radio, I was licensed when I was 36. So crap, that's 7 years ago. Holy crap, I'm getting old. But once I kind of went down the ham radio rabbit hole, I found your videos and then Jason's video, which they were just showing on the on the Ham Radio Clubhouse the other night with that TYT 9800, where he's holding up the cards because he didn't even know how to edit. He was learning, so he to put text on the screen. He's just holding up cue cards to go to grapevineamateurradio.com and all that stuff. It was hilarious, but so those videos. And Ham Radio Concept.
Sure.
And then I started following guys like Jerry and Tony K9IRV and Kevin W6RIP. But I've never really tackled that kind of just technician portion, and I want to get into that. So hopefully Steve and I will do a regular Tuesday stream. But then I want the FT8 off.
Yeah.
Was a really fun thing that a lot of us enjoyed. And then that kind of died off. And then I got the idea, well, let's do the Andy Cowley FT8 Friday night extravaganza. And so maybe we can bring that back. I just was like, screw it. Let's do a live stream last night. And we had a lot of fun. Guy named Mike from Dominican Republic hopped on the stream, and we ended up having a great live stream for an hour and 20 minutes. They wanted another 9-hour live stream, but I wasn't able to.
I wasn't there. I wasn't there.
I mean, it's
I did see the call out for people to join. I saw it a day late, so I was already like, oh no,
Oh, dude, I posted it 5 minutes before.
Yeah. I was like, I'm always ready for some Mike shenanigans when it's possible, but this one was not. It's not possible.
All you can do is throw the net out and see what you catch.
That's
sometimes
right.
Sometimes you get nothing. Sometimes you get you get the big one. But no, we had a great stream. I made a great friend. Actually talking about maybe traveling to Dominican Republic. His club has an amazing station or setup for like field days and stuff. They've got towers and beams and all kinds of stuff that are like permanently there on some guy's property.
Oh, I love
like
it.
Up high. So I'm like, dude, like I have a new love of cigars. I have a new ham radio friend in Dominican Republic. I'm like, for like $1,000, I could probably go down there and spend like 4 or 5 days, and just hang out. And like, how cool would that be? The experience, make some videos, get some great cigars. So, I mean, it's like, ham radio is such an amazing hobby, dude. You meet so many awesome people. I love it.
Yeah. So I have a very interesting nerd thing that just popped up. Rick on Discord says, now I'm curious how many on the stream have actually held a slide rule. So I have held a slide rule in the sense of an antiquity. I've held it as a thing in my engineering career, working for one of the major engineering firms, as like an antique, like as a thing we no longer use. I grew up after that fact. I did not ever have to use a slide rule. So Don, go ahead.
Used one in high school. I used one in college.
Wild.
So yeah, and this was '83 because the TI calculators were available then, but they were $300 to $500, and I mean we just couldn't afford them, and so that was a way to do it, and personally for me it was fun, and I actually have my father-in-law was an engineer at NASA, and he was a physicist in doing the rocket science thing, and I have his slide rule in a drawer right next to me.
We call it rocket surgery. Okay, Don, that's what we call it.
Yeah,
we call it rocket surgery.
Comment. Rocket appliances, thank you.
Mm-hmm. Paul, go ahead. You said comment. Go for it.
I actually used the slide rule that was my dad's in high school and college until I got my TI 83. The slide rule was once you learn how to use it, it's actually a very good tool for higher mathematics.
There you go.
Comment out of fingers. I take off my shoes. If I can't do it, then I don't care about the maths.
Well, I got my degree in the maths.
What was the comment? Somebody said comment.
I've got a.
Go ahead, comment.
James, I think.
Yeah, go ahead, comment.
Yeah, my dad, when I was younger, he went to the Naval Academy and he brought out his stuff and showed us how to use it before I was probably 10. And then I never touched it again until I got into aviation. I used an E6B all the time.
Did any of you guys ever, us old folks, when did the drafting tables and drafting go away? Where you had the big tables with the fancy pencils and all that crap?
So the thing that shook me in the engineering world was the electric eraser. Okay, so it's not that you could draw a line. It's that they literally had apparatuses for doing erasing, and it was an electric eraser, and it was literally like someone took a vibrator and put an eraser on it and rubbed that nub out. I am when I experienced that, and then people explained to me, it's like, oh no, we had like a steno pool. And like, what the hell's a steno pool?
Oh, yeah.
And they're like, oh, no, that was when, like, the drafter would make something, or the people with the slide rules would come out with a calculation and they wanted to reproduce it. They'd push it to the steno pool, and the steno pool would, like, make it in mass, in copy. Slides didn't exist at this time. Like, there's no PowerPoint or anything like that. This is, like, before computers, really. And and the vestiges of this still exist in aerospace. Like I go to work, again, one of these large companies, and you will still find something that looks like a tattoo pen. Like it has this big honking motor on the top of it, and and that's an electric eraser, and it literally has a nub at the end, and they would go through there and electrically erase things. And I was like, oh my God, like this is crazy. Like, this is crazy. And like, well, yeah, you can say that because you have computers. And then now then I become the person that shows him how to work Excel and, you know, use all that stuff, right? Like
Comment?
Yeah, go ahead, Mike.
Yeah, I did technical drawing at school, and the problem we had, this is in the late 70s, was we'd only converted to metric about 3 years. So because British schools weren't best off, and all the textbooks were in inches.
Right.
But all the exams were written in, and the tests were written in millimeters. So half of us, we had to retake the exam because none of us got the conversions right, and what we were supposed to be drawing ended up all different shapes.
Yeah.
So it was rather hilarious.
I love that.
Yeah, I remember that. Like when I was in college for 4 semesters, I had to take drafting 1 and 2, but 1 was a year and 2 was a year, so 2 semesters. And you know, you sat at the big table and you had to go, one of the supplies you had to get was all of the fancy pencils and the erasers and all of that stuff, and then you sat at this huge table and literally, you know, drew out things,
right?
Learned how to draft basically. And I mean, I don't know when that went away, because I know, like, when I got out and was in computers, one of the things I did was I worked on the big drafting machines, the CADM terminals, the big vector terminals, where instead of drawing it on a piece of paper, you draw it on a screen kind of thing. So I saw it go away, but I don't know exactly when they stopped teaching it in college.
I mean, oddly enough, the generation that learned how to use slide rules and all that are also the same generation that knows how to read like a schematic. That's probably the same generation where it kind of died out. Like schematics are like, so it's not that a schematic, like, and I'm talking about electronics, it is so unapproachable that you can't read it. But if you have no experience with it, if you've never read anything like it before, it can kind of be kind of heady, particularly if you don't understand the components and all that stuff. So you're literally talking, like, there's many people in the chat right now, or in the Discord chat, who are of the generation of, like, I've actually seen schematics, I've actually worked through all of that. And they're talking about, like, oh, yeah, we had to draft things on a slide rule or just lay things out mathematically with a slide rule. That's a byproduct of that. Like, that's part of the world, if you will.
Yeah, I actually, after I got left that GD place, General Dynamics.
That GD place, that goddamn place.
Exactly.
Yeah, I know where you're going. Yeah.
But anyway, after I left them, I went into, because there I was in computer aided design, or CAD, and I was working on the software for CAD. When I went to E-Systems for 10 years and had the clearances I still can't talk about, that was all computer aided engineering, and so it was all schematic capture, and you actually, we would do schematic capture, then we would link all of the pages together with this thing called Drink. And then there was a thing called Sing that would pull all of the information from it. And then there was a simulator, which would literally simulate the circuit, which is nothing today. But back then, it would take days to run through these circuits and simulate them, which was a new thing to do it before, because prior to that, they would actually do a build of a board called a snap out, and then they would blue wire everything together. And so that's why, like, one of the jokes that goes around, oh, because the wire is blue, that was actually a term back then for a mistake. And you would go in and cut the traces and run a blue wire between them. And they were blue wires. Now, that may have just been where I worked, but that, you know, that was the way things were done.
So we got a question about mass. I'm using a 1-inch metal conduit. How high off the block wall should I go on a 10-foot 1-inch conduit? So, Douglas, you got to tell us what kind of antenna, what band you're trying to operate on, and then how much, like, wire or thing in weight you're trying to hold up. A 1-inch conduit's not going to do a lot for you, man. I got to be honest with you. So I would love to hear the answers to those questions. So Red Summit RF, he knows how to get on the Discord. Hop in, man. We'd love to talk with you.
Yeah. By the way, as far as YouTubers goes, just for a moment,
yeah,
Frank and Red or Charlie switch back and forth on Fridays before Jason's stream.
That's true.
So
That's
yeah,
true.
so just so everybody knows.
Go on the HRCC Discord, Charlie, and join us on the live stream if you can. If you can, I'm not pushing you, but we'd love to have you. So I don't know why I can't embiggen the chat. So some of you folks, your chat name is too long, so it just shows up as one character. I can't control that right now. But
well, anyway, somehow or another, Ape got that fixed for Jim this afternoon, but I do not know what they did.
Well, let me go back, and we're going to talk about test equipment. Adam, are you still there? Adam, are you back or around? Can you unmute if you're there?
I am indeed.
Hey, so Adam, what is your favorite test equipment? Because Adam has built a ton of antennas and different filters and all kinds of fun stuff. So I'm curious what Adam thinks is his quiver of test equipment.
That's a good question. So what the tricky part is that what I generally recommend to others is not necessarily what I prefer for a lot of purposes. So let me kind of explain that. I really like using a NanoVNA for building and tuning antennas and matching networks for antennas. And there's a good reason for that. I also have a RigExpert, AA35 Zoom, I think is the model. And I generally recommend something like that for someone that's asking what they should use for antenna building. The RigExpert, the reason I recommend the RigExpert is that it's just easier to use. It's more user-friendly, it's simpler, and it makes it, I think, just a bit easier for a newer builder to get to the essential elements and measurements that they need to build and tune the antenna. The NanoVNA, what it gives me, and I think some of the RigExperts have this as well, but the NanoVNA gives me the ability to view the Smith chart. And once you start to understand a Smith chart and what that information is telling you about your system, it's incredibly useful and can make it much easier for someone that maybe is a little more advanced of a user, an antenna builder, to quickly tune the antenna.
Your 35 doesn't do that?
35 does not have a Smith chart.
Oh, okay. I was going to say pretty sure my 1400 does.
Probably does, yeah.
Yeah, and by the way, Adam, and because when I talked to Ape before, he didn't know this, but we had a guy come to the club that went over analyzers in detail. The RigExperts, and in fact, most modern SWR meters are VNAs. They're just not, they don't have that second port on them, right?
Right. Mm-hmm. Yep. So yeah, that's my pick. The NanoVNA is just an incredibly useful and powerful tool, and they're so incredibly cheap for what you can get.
So I got a comment from Chris. I have a question about test equipment. What is your opinion of the SWR app on the Xiegu X6100? So everything we've talked about at this point has been a device that does many things, but among those things, particularly the NanoVNA, will do testing for your antenna. The 6100 is generally only doing an SWR sweep. Like it's running a sweep of what the SWR is. That's not a measure of resonance or anything like that. It's just measuring for where the lowest impedance point is for that antenna. A lot of the times, those two things line up, but resonance is the point we're chasing most of the time. So the 6100 is a nice tool to have, but it's not a replacement or solution for like a proper NanoVNA or a RigExpert or something along those lines.
Yeah, I generally agree. It's very useful to at least see the resistive impedance at resonance when your reactive impedance. Resonance is where your reactive impedance is zero or real close to zero, close enough to zero to call it zero. And if you're building, say, an end-fed half wave, which has a very high impedance feed point, and you use a transformer to transform that impedance down to 50 ohms, and if you find that at the bottom of your SWR curve, or when you're near resonance, you still have like a 1.5 or 2-to-1 SWR, you want to understand why and what you need to do to fix that.
Sure.
And if you look at your resistive impedance and you see, oh, hey, my resistive impedance is 85 ohms at resonance, when I have zero reactive impedance, and 85 ohms is going to give you an SWR of about 1.75, 1.8 to 1. So what you can do there is say add a couple of turns to your secondary coil on your transformer to increase the ratio of turns and give you a greater transformance ratio, which brings your high impedance down to a lower level and brings that 85 ohms down to, say, 50 or so.
The cool thing about all this is that for hundreds of dollars, you can actually put together a really nice test suite of equipment that, like, if you had to just go buy a service monitor, from the 90s even, and even before then, you'd be spending thousands right now. So a NanoVNA is sub $100. And even if you went, and by the way, I now that I've looked at this thing, Smoking Ape just spent my money. By the way, I'm gonna wake up tomorrow. I'm probably gonna wrap up the live stream at some point and then literally go buy this thing. The TinySA Ultra, that goes up to 5 gigahertz for $250 on Amazon. That's crazy.
What?
That's crazy. It goes up to 5 gigs.
$140 on RNL.
Okay, well, maybe I'll go
buy it on RNL, because that's a genuine
go buy it
source.
on RNL. Go buy it on RNL.
Mm.
With that said, if you make it cheaper for me, it's only selling my point harder. This was kind of a walled off space for hams. Like you had to have a ton of money to be able to have any knowledge of what your radio was doing. And hey, for everybody watching right now, and they're like, oh, those old timers told me all about how my radio's crap and all that stuff. They didn't even know what their radio was doing half of the time. They didn't know because they weren't testing it. They didn't have access to good test equipment. A lot of them. Some of them did. A lot of them, though, did not. And probably the ones that are talking the biggest amount of crap definitely did not have access to good test equipment. We live in a democratized world of test tools right now. I didn't get on a soapbox, but I'm gonna a little bit here. We have the ability to be able to buy test tools very cheaply, and they work very, very well for just, hey, where am I at? Most of the times on ham radio, that's kind of where you want to be, is like, where am I at? Am I close enough? Is it good enough? That's what you're trying to do. So I can't tell you enough about some of this cool stuff that's coming out and the stuff that already exists out there in this space. So there you go.
Yeah, it's just that the TinySA won't get up to 6 gigahertz.
Well, what do you have that's in 6 gig that you need?
5G radio heads.
Oh, you want to use it for business?
No, I want to protect myself. I work in a business that has those things hanging around, broadcasting all the time, testing. I want to make sure I'm safe.
Okay, I gotcha.
I'm just kidding because we've got, huge attenuators for those things. So
all right. So we're gonna do this live. So I'm gonna pull up.
I just linked it in the chat.
All right, we're gonna pull this up. TinySA Ultra. Let's. Oh yeah, that's definitely the Ultra. 139. So I'm not an affiliate or anything like that. Throw your money at this link. So I'm gonna do that myself. I'm doing it right now. I'm gonna take it. I'm gonna take it offline because I'm gonna go buy some. I'm gonna spend some money. Leia, don't be watching right now. RNL, man. I gotta tell you, sometimes RNL has like chaos energy for ham radio stuff. I don't even remember what my password is. But sometimes they have like the wildest stuff that is just super sweet.
Mm-hmm. And no Texas sales tax. But the thing that the reason that I do not like NanoVNAs is if you have ever watched the Kevin Laughlin deal on it on the NanoVNAs when he first tried to buy one, and he tried to buy 3 of them, not a single one of them worked. And I had the same experience, and I flat wouldn't buy one until RNL started selling them. And then we knew we could buy the good ones from RNL. And to this day, I won't buy either the SA or the NanoVNA from anybody but RNL because I don't know who the seller is at Amazon. But I can trust RNL, and I know their stuff, the stuff I bought from them, it's always worked.
Well, I'm now in, I think. Oh, I just bought it. Oh, I did that. The website is now updated, and I have bought the TinySA Ultra from RNL. So I will go back and, or if you join us on the Discord, that's how you get the link that Dawn posted.
Yeah, and Mike's right. If you don't get it right now, they're going to be gone.
It's going to be gone. It's going to be gone. Okay.
Part of the green screen.
You're totally green. All right, sit down. Here, let me give me your headphones. My son is joining us, but guys, go ahead, keep going. You're plugging.
What?
Going back to your 5G and wanting to be safe, I know how you can be safe. Just wrap your head in tinfoil.
Yeah. No, I honestly don't have to go to the lab very often, and I do know that like one of the things that's so cool is to go out to that lab where we've got all those radio heads and look at all this stuff that's hooked up to them, and the coax that we use and all of that stuff. It's amazing. It's way beyond what we've got. And when you're talking about spectrum analyzers, and you're talking about the ones that you know, some of the guys are talking about, oh, I was in telecom 10 years ago. Well, the ones that we have right now, the analyzers that we have are all Rhodes and Swartz. And I know because I've seen what we paid for them, and they are over, they're more than $500,000 a piece. And they will do everything RF. Because, and that's the cool things too, is we have RF engineers that are there. And I've talked to a few of them, and I expected them not to know HF because I've met a few that absolutely, they have no idea about HF. But the 2 or 3 that I've met recently, all are very familiar with how HF propagation works. So it's been a lot of fun to work in the industry now.
All right, RNL, by the way, that's the, I bought a ton of stuff from RNL. Well, ton. I bought a decent amount of things from RNL, and it's the chaos energy of RNL that I like so much. They're the guys who have the, like, if it snows on Christmas in Texas, your order's free.
No, that's Main Trading Company.
Oh, it is? Ah, you're right. God. Okay, I'm so bad at this. No, you're right. Thank you, Don. But I love what they do because they'll often have prices that just beat everybody, and they have the daily specials, so that's a lot of fun.
Right. And yeah, Main Trading Company is fun, but they're in Paris, Texas, about 2 hours from my house, and RNL is in Ohio near Dayton, right?
Oh, is it? Yeah.
I think.
But wait, why haven't I talked with them at Hamvention? Did they not go to Hamvention?
I think they did. So when when Jim bought that 500,
They were definitely a invention.
yeah, didn't Jim buy his 500 from him? Because he tried Gigaparts and HRO, neither of them had the 500. I think he ended up buying it at R&L.
They sent him a free hat.
Yeah, that's right. So he bought his 500.
So then that's
at
my
R&L.
bad. I will definitely add them to my map space to go talk to, because R&L oftentimes has like better prices than a lot of other retailers sometimes, and when they do it, it's pretty interesting. So appreciate you guys. Appreciate you, and all the hams do too. So thank you for doing that.
I like to call him Darnell.
Darnell? Why do you call him Darnell?
Because it's just fun.
Okay. Hey, but if you save $100, so let me grab that link. Make sure everybody gets on this. I'm gonna copy that. All right, we're dropping it on the YouTube side, so make sure if you're gonna buy the SA Ultra. No, that's to Discord. Hold on, that's the wrong link. There we go. All right, I got it.
You're going to have them sold out, and they're going to wonder what happened.
Yeah, apparently this price is good through the end of the month. So,
all right.
However, with them being on the stream tonight, they are not going to last.
Oh, yeah, that is.
And by the way,
so I pinned it. So there you guys go. You can save $100 on a TinySA Ultra, and so you heard the Smoking Ape. It's up to 5 gigs, 5 gigs on that unit. So that's pretty appreciable for the gigs. Now you got to have a radio that needs that. If you don't, then it's kind of like extra business to put on top of it. But
everybody's got Wi-Fi.
Yeah, you're right.
5 gig Wi-Fi.
All right.
But by the way, the AA35 Zoom that Adam mentioned earlier is also on their website on the front page on sale. Just in case anybody wants to know.
Oh, I love it. DD Radio, thank you so much for the information you're dropping. I appreciate that. Thank you so much. All right, question 4. Attenuators taps to knock down the signal going into the spectrum analyzer. Are most people's homes brewing them or buying commercial? I know Bird makes one. So attenuators taps to knock down the signal going into the spectrum. So Ape talked a little bit about that for normalizing the waveform before he gets started, but go ahead. Anybody want to jump in there? Go ahead.
Well, he was talking about... Go ahead, Dan.
Oh, I was just going to say, I built my own 30 dB-ish RF tap, and it's pretty easy to find designs online, and for the stuff we're doing, it doesn't have to be perfectly linear. If we're close, we're good enough for the kind of stuff we're doing. So yeah, I made an RF tap. A sampling T, as they call them. That's probably the best thing to search for, RF sampling T. And there's some designs online that people have come up with that are pretty simple. The one I built, I actually added a variable resistor as a variable attenuator, so it's roughly 30 to 60 dB of attenuation on the sampling port of the sampling T. The nice thing with that is that you can measure through power while you're doing your sampling, or you can just send into a dummy load and kind of get both functions there.
Say, Adam, is there a power rating to an attenuator? Like a watt?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because I have one on my amplifier. So
yeah, just a straight attenuator is all it's doing is turning some of that RF to heat. So so if you're going from 100 watts to 1 watt, you're turning 99 watts into heat, and you need to be able to dissipate that
Yeah, but only on the T side, right? Because the other side should be straight through, right?
Well, the T is different. So the
Right.
T is not dissipating that. It's just it's basically splitting it, right? So you have two outputs from your sampling T. You have your primary output, which needs to go to either an antenna or a dummy load, and then the sampling port, which just takes like a very small fraction, a thousandth or a 10,000th of the total signal strength, and routes it that way.
Oh, okay. Because what mine does is it goes to the antenna, and the whole point of it is it's running. I mean, you're basically sampling the output of the amplifier and feeding it back into the radio for adaptive pre-distortion. So it gives the radio the distortion information from the amplifier,
right?
So that the radio can adjust it and all that mess. But it's a 60 dB attenuator.
Yeah, well, it's technically it's not really an attenuator. It's just pulling, it's skimming off the signal that's going out 60 dB down from that signal. It's taking 1/10,000th or 1/100,000th of the whatever the math is on that of the signal and sending that back into the radio for analysis. So it's not attenuating the total signal. It's just pulling a small fraction of the output.
Oh, okay. I get what you're saying. Yeah.
All right. So I have actually that thing. So no, put it back down, Ben. Put it back down. So that's a little bit lower, a little bit lower, a little bit lower. Variable RF sampler. So what this has is it's a through line device, right? So you got two SO239s, but then it has a BNC on the end with some kind of variable resistor or capacitor. And this is what you would use on a multitude of devices to create some kind of variable on some kind of device you plugged in. No, don't get that out of the way. My son is literally working the desk right now, so cleanrf.com. Go look that up. That's a really good unit. Not that. That's a thermal camera. Put it down. I haven't had a chance to make a video on that yet, Ben. Gotta pretend like I don't have it yet.
Showing us all the secrets.
I know, he is right now. Oh, yeah. Okay. So anyway, so Nano or TinySA. Oh, he really loves the screwdriver. Go ahead. Show it on the camera. Okay. All right. There you go. There you go. That was on sale this week. Oh my God. Okay. Yeah, go ahead. Put the whole thing in the camera, but lower, a little bit lower. The Vara tool. Yeah,
variable
Vara.
RF sampler.
Oh yeah, the clean RF, but the screwdriver he's now showing. He's very much in love with the screwdriver. He thinks now it's a lightsaber. One. I feel like I am on the knife show right now. Anybody remember the knife show? It was the QVC for knife. Oh, great, fantastic, Ben. Yes. You're totally killing it right now. This is awesome. Yes, thumbs up.
And model extraordinary.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Dale, a little piece of that got me. You got a little piece of that in me. I appreciate that. You know what, Mike? There's one thing that I think you and I can come together on is that the knife show is one of the most spectacular things that has ever come together. I absolutely love the knife show. You remember the knife show?
You're talking about the guy. You're talking about the guy that would have these 96 knives for $102.
Yes.
Yeah,
yes.
Dude. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. And they'd all be like, there'd be 100 knives. There'd be one good one and 900 tiny little pocket knives that are oh, these are all razor sharp and blah, blah, blah. Yeah, dude. I mean, you've seen I'm a sucker for infomercials.
I need help playing piano.
Go ask Mommy.
I'm stuck on a...
Go ask Mommy. I'm live right now. Okay, here's the other one. The other one. Thank you, Ben. Thank you. Appreciate that. Here's the other one. He literally dragged his face on concrete, right? Or not? Cement. Yeah. You tripped.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But don't worry, they bounce well at that age.
He did. You bounce well. You got a big bouncy bit. Bouncy bit. Go ask mommy. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Oh, I know.
What?
She wouldn't get. I need to help you.
I'm literally doing a live stream right now. One kid is literally invisible kid with camo. All right, thank you, Ben. Help him out. All right, close it out. Help him out too. Okay, Jesus Christ. Yeah. So once upon a time, there was a QVC for knives. It was called. It wasn't called the Knife Show. Was it called the Knife Show?
I have no idea what it was called, but I was suckered in every single time they were on.
So if anybody's seen that viral video where the guy's slapping the katana on the table, he's like, "This is made of some good high quality metals," and he slaps it and it breaks and it stabs himself. That is the Knife Show.
I didn't see that one.
Oh yeah. It's the guy. He's like, Odell, a little piece of it caught me. Odell was the guy that like ran the whole thing. He was like the producer. Yeah. But they'd always have like a turning tripod of knives, they'd put the best knife on the little like turning thing. He's like, "This is 440 stainless steel. This is the best, thing, blah, 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 you can get." And it was a jig bone handle. It was the best.
I mean, as someone who's spent most of my career in sales, those videos are just, I mean, and same with QVC, like there it is. There's a picture on the Discord there.
Yeah, I dropped.
We might have to watch it.
It is. You should.
We're at this point right now.
It's sales at its finest. It's great.
Oh yeah, you got that 3-piece dice show? Is it the 3-piece dice? Oh wait, hold on. Oh god. Oh hold on. Oh my god. Oh, here we go.
That time of the night where we go down the rabbit hole.
Yeah, we're
gonna
at
get
that
demonetized if he keeps pointing that weapon at you.
So you got your belt sheath right there. Yeah, that's it. It's the blooper? Why is this the blooper? Oh, because he put his hand. Oh, Jesus. No, that's not the one I'm talking about. That's not the one I'm looking for.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it said katana.
Oh, knife
accident.
corner. Knife corner is what I want.
Yeah, that's not the one. The guy's he's got the block of wood.
No, he's the same. It's the same guy. It's the same guy.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah.
Is it
I want. Oh, this is it.
1101 1816 is the item number on this.
This is it.
Yeah.
Watch this. Watch.
And the nice thing about these practice katanas.
Apparently, there were a lot of bloopers on there.
Oh, that hurt big time. A piece of the tip just got me, Odell.
Tip just got me, Odell.
Oh, that got me good. A piece of that tip just got me. Oh, right now.
And I love the camera's just slow panning, like, yep. And then Odell's in frame. So Odell is the GOAT. Like, he's the GOAT of the knife corner. He's the one who jumps in, like, in any moment to talk about the jig bone handle. That's, there's Odell right there. All right.
I think I've got one of those over there.
Go back to the camera screen.
MySpace.
He didn't even hit it hard.
No.
No, yeah. It was just ready. That was Mall Ninja style. Look, it's green. So Ben bugged the crap out of me about, wait, what happened? There it is. All right, hold on, there you go. He bugged the crap out of me because I got a new 3D printer. He's like, build me a phaser. And I said, yes, son, I will build you a phaser. And so there it is. I built him a next generation Cobra head phaser. But then he won't stop bugging me about building him a communicator for Star Trek. And I was like, okay, we got to do it the right way. So I got to get like 3 different kinds of filament. I need a black filament, a silver filament, and a gold filament to be proper original series. Because in Next Gen, they had the communicator, insignia that they could.
The badge, yeah.
The badge. And I was like, no, you gotta do it Kirk style, where you whip it out and you gotta like just pontificate and chew up all the scenery when you pull the communicator out. And he's like, no, I don't want that. I want the thing where they fold the bottom part out and then they like do readings and stuff. That's not a communicator. That's a tricorder.
Do you watch Adam Savage?
That's a tricorder. Yes, I absolutely do watch Adam Savage. Go ahead, Mike. Go ahead.
Dude, I just watched a video. I think it was a newer video, but I just watched a video the other day where he 3D printed these miniature Ghostbusters proton packs.
Yes.
Yeah.
Did you see that? Oh my god. He's got like the miniature Ecto 1 and it legit slid out the back and he had all the proton packs, dude. That was sick. Whatever printer that is, that's insane.
One of my favorite stories of all time is I have a buddy, Crazy Dave. If you've watched any of my videos for long enough, you've probably heard of Crazy Dave. Crazy Dave was an engineer that I got to experience in his full force and just amazing. So Crazy Dave holds multiple land speed records on El Mirage. He built a scooter into a couch. He built the frame and then put the couch on it and then drove it with a scooter, and he used that to to tow out his land speed record cars and motorcycles and all that. So that's just preface. But the story goes, the Mythbusters, Adam and Jamie, were looking to figure out the Impala myth. Remember the JATO Impala myth? Jet Assist Takeoff Impala myth of the forever. Everybody has always heard of he won the land speed record because he put a JATO on the top of his Impala and and it took off.
Dude, that was an early Mythbusters episode.
Yes. So
yeah.
Okay, so when the Mythbusters wanted to make this video, they started again, kind of like I did today's show. I'm gonna reach out to smarter people than I am to help answer these questions, and they reached out to Dave, my buddy Dave. The Mythbusters called Dave because they asked all around. They said, who knows their stuff, mathematically can figure out how much force that they could put behind an Impala with a JATO, a jet assist takeoff jet propulsion system. So they called up Dave. Dave answers the phone and he's talking to these guys and he's like, yeah, no, it's not going to work very well. This is not going to do anything like the myth. It's not going to be anywhere close to that. It's not going to generate the thrust needed. It cannot generate the power because it's a 1960-something Impala. It's probably early 60s, if not late 50s Impala. And they're like, okay, well, thank you so much. We're still gonna do it. And then go watch the video of them launching the Impala with the JATO. It barely went 20 feet. And that was Dave. That was Crazy Dave, the friend of mine who I built AK-47s with and a whole lot of other crap. That guy is the best engineer I have ever worked with in my entire life. That is the guy, some of us grew up with Mr. Wizard. That is Mr. Wizard of just making things. I want to do this really dumb thing, and he's like, oh yeah, I love dumb things. Let's do it. And we would just do it. It was the best. And he lived a couple of miles from me, and he moved 20 miles away, and I haven't seen him since I had the kids. Nearly as much.
Dude, Mr. Wizard is the OG Bill Nye the Science Guy.
Oh yeah, yeah. And the best part of Mr. Wizard is that he would get pissed at the kids. He'd be like, "No, you screwed that up. You screwed up. You screwed up, Mr. Wizard. You don't know how.
Okay.
You don't
Dude,
even
I
know
used
who
to
Bill
love
Nye is,
Mr. Wizard.
I know who Bill Nye is.
Mr. Wizard was the best.
Bill Nye the Science Guy.
He would always have my thing with Mr. Wizard is he's such a dick. He would always have the cool looking safety glasses, and he would always give the kids the
cellophane wrapped,
ungodly awful things you would ever possibly imagine.
Yes.
Can't you just buy two of the same?
No.
You mean Bill Nye the Science
Yeah,
Guy?
he was so much better than Bill Nye, whatever the hell he is.
Easy, Don.
No,
hey, I like Bill Nye too. I like Bill Nye.
Dude, Bill Nye is what's
up.
Yeah, Mr. Wizard is my generation, so.
Oh
Bill,
yeah, I get that.
There was a comedy show called Almost Live, I think it was called, that Bill Nye was on too. That was on Comedy Central before Comedy Central started sucking. That was a really good show.
So the thing to consider about Bill Nye versus Mr. Wizard. So Mr. Wizard had like a captive audience because he got like played to kids in schools and stuff like that.
Well, there weren't that many channels either.
Right, but Bill Nye rolls up, and you had to want to watch Bill Nye because there was a ton of other shows at the same time, like cartoons and all that other stuff. People tuned into Bill Nye because he made science approachable. Like he made science and STEM learning something that like anyone could do. I'm not saying Mr. Wizard didn't do that, because he did. He definitely did that. But the feel of it, you can see the feel of it is different. Like it's just it's very much more clinical with Mr. Wizard versus Bill Nye's like, hey, we're all on a journey together in science. And we're going to learn. Yeah. Have you watched Bill Nye? Here, get in there. You watch Bill Nye? When?
At home sometimes.
You watch Bill Nye?
Except I'm invisible, kind of.
Why? Well, speak into the mic. When have you watched Bill Nye?
At school, sometimes at home.
Get closer.
At school, sometimes at home.
Do you like
He's
it?
perfectly loud up.
You like it?
Yeah. I haven't
Is
seen
it
Mr.
cool?
Wizard, but yeah, it's pretty cool.
All right. It's pretty cool.
He's pretty funny, though.
All right. There you go. Pretty cool, says my... How old are you now? 10? Almost. Almost 10. Almost 10.
I don't know, 6 more months.
Yeah. All right. There we go. All right. So let's open it up to any questions in ham radio. Anything you guys want. We're here to answer your questions. That includes the text chat on YouTube, on the voice chat here on Discord. And if you haven't, please join us on the Discord. I swear it's worth your time. It's worth your time in gold, particularly if you're starting out in ham radio. So go ahead.
Dude. This may not be the time to bring it up, but y'all did hear about Bean, right?
Hear about what?
Bean.
Beam, the social media app?
No. Okay, you don't know her. So there's a lady that is a very big into satellites. Her husband, his name is Ant and Bean, and they've appeared quite often on the show, the Coffee and Ham Radios. They've been on there several times.
Mm-hmm.
And anyway, they were announcing on the Coffee and Ham Radios thing, or not Coffee and Ham Radios, but the Clubhouse. And they were announcing she just passed away. She's a silent key.
Oh, no.
Like as of this morning. And so that's why I was wondering. I assumed y'all didn't hear, but I was like, well, you know.
I did not hear about
T-shirts, didn't she?
Huh? Yeah, she would do the T-shirts she did one for Joe Brett and several other people. And like I said, she was really, she had a whole satellite station. She did a lot of satellite stuff. They had a satellite station on top of their house, and she could operate it. She did a lot of satellite work. And then she also did a really, really into POTA.
Joe Brett posted about it this morning in his group. It was sad to hear that.
Right. And well, her husband posted too. He's posted a couple of times. He even posted something on her, like a final tribute kind of thing on her YouTube channel this morning, which I thought was like, wow.
That is nice. I didn't hear about this person though, so
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
I don't know enough about them, so.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, she needed a liver transplant, but she couldn't get on the list because she had an abnormality in her gut that turned sugar into alcohol. And her blood alcohol level was always like 5 or 6 times, 7 times the legal limit. And from being alcohol intoxicated without actually drinking, she, had some falls and hospitalizations, and she really needed the transplant more than anything else, and just couldn't get a transplant. So, unfortunately, at the age of 42, she passed away.
42?
Yeah,
that's really young.
42. She's young.
That's really scary. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it's tough when you can't. People don't realize how many people need transplants, whether it's hearts or livers or lungs or kidneys. It's very difficult.
The scariest thing about that is I have a stepdad who had a successful lung transplant. He had oh God, I can't remember now. I talked about it on the live stream, but he had a respiratory fibrosis issue, and so his lungs were just dying, like just dying. And he had a successful transplant, but the thing with transplants is
medication.
And even then, like they don't have. There's a time limit, if you will. There's a number in years that you could put on a transplant.
Yeah, normally 10 years. Statistically, 10 years.
For a lung, no, it's
lungs?
like 5.
Yeah,
from
lungs,
what I was told.
Lungs, hearts,
Josh?
lungs, and livers are tough.
I just dropped a link in the chat. She had what's called auto brewery syndrome.
Yeah,
that is legit a thing.
Yeah,
it
where
is.
your body produces alcohol. So it's horrible, absolutely horrible. I saw the tweet earlier today, and
it converts sugars into alcohol.
I had no idea she was dealing with this.
Yeah, I didn't either.
Horrible.
Yeah, I dropped that link a couple of up from where you dropped it, Mike. That in Discord, that was where Ant had posted on her channel this set of outtakes of her this morning.
Yeah, I watched that too.
Oh wow! And I mean, when I watched that, I couldn't tell. I had no idea what her problem was or what happened. I thought maybe it was an auto accident or something like that. But since they didn't say, I didn't ask.
Well, that's really sad. I'm sorry for her family and everybody else. That's really tough.
Yeah, I feel bad.
Yeah, I didn't mean to bring the whole thing down either, but I kind of thought people knew who she was. I mean, unfortunately, it's one of those things where, well, I know who she is, but sorry.
Yeah,
Don, I think Don, you should mention something about your flex, just to bring it back around.
Well, I mean, what we could do is we could talk about how great FT4 was last night, right, Mike?
Hey, Josh, you have a question in the YouTube chat.
I do. Other than so it was kind of tough to transition out of that. So thank you, Don, for bringing it up. I appreciate it.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
The question is, why am I getting so many stations on each refresh of FT8? So the simple reason is I have probably a better antenna than you do. I hate to say that, but that's kind of what it is. So I'm running a 3-element step IR. So I have a beam. I'm running a beam antenna on 20 meters. That's why. That is why. It's not high. It's probably 30 feet up in the air. But it's high enough that it is effectively very pointed in the sense that when I want to use it. And so when I point it in a certain direction, you can see I'm getting Europe right now. And if I tilt it like more to the north, which I'll do right now, I'm pointing my antenna a little bit. Yeah, a little bit. You can watch the pattern change above my head, those pink lines, because those pink lines are actually not like going horizontal away from me. They're growing like up and over the continent, the globe we live on. It's not a flat planet. So it's going over the top of the globe into the UK. So it looks like these arcs, but really it's a...
Hang on, you can't say that, Josh.
No, I will
should have
say
said.
it. I
You
will say it.
should
I'll
have.
say it
No,
every time.
you should have said that while Ape was
You're
in here.
right.
And
No,
then,
you're right. I should have
no,
said that.
you
You're
should
right.
have said
You're
that while
right.
Ape was in here because it would have been hysterical.
You're right. I should have.
Imagine-
I should have.
Imagine a live stream with ham radio and you pointing your beam, Skyman Dan and the Smoking Ape on the same channel.
Oh man. Oh, that would have been amazing. That would be-
Josh, you can do 30 meters with that antenna, yes?
Oh yeah, but it's a dipole. It's not a beam on 30.
Yeah,
it's only a dipole.
The
And,
beam
dude,
is 6
DX
to 20.
is crazy on 30 meters right now.
Oh yeah, 30. So, if anybody wants to get Japan, I would encourage you to get on 30 meters. That would be probably your easiest band to get Japan on 30 meters.
Yeah,
that's where I racked up. I don't know, over 100 contacts in Japan on 30 meters easily.
Yeah, I did too, even, with my noise floor as it is on 30 meters. And honestly, my almost like worked all states was nearly all 30 meters because it was so, it just is always so hot. And there's so many people on it.
That's one of the few bands I can't touch, unfortunately. For some reason, my infed half wave, even though it's 10 through 80, it doesn't like 17 or 30.
Right. Yeah. That's harmonic. What you probably should try to do, or could try to do, is get a 9-to-1 random wire and try to see if you can get on 30. 30 and 17 are really great bands. Although I've been having really good luck recently on 15. 15 was open like nearly all night last night.
Oh, really? Oh, that's
Yeah.
awesome. That's what we want.
And you could actually use the beam on 15.
Question in the chat: when will the next antenna consultation live stream be? That is a fantastic question. I'm barely hanging on through this month because I gotta finish up some stuff, and I want to do. We're packing for and preparing for a camping trip with Adam K6ARK, and then after that I'm gonna do something with K3LR from DX Engineering, and then that goes right into Huntsville. So I would basically have to try and hustle that out next week, which is not impossible, but maybe that's what we do next week. Maybe, because otherwise we won't touch it until August. Honestly,
End of August.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Guys, by the way, like if you can get out to Huntsville. Huntsville's probably my favorite, probably one of my favorite ham fests. It's not for the reasons you think, like the hanging out in the show. That's a lot of fun, don't get me wrong. But there's nothing better than hanging out in the middle of like a proper wilderness with trees. I'm coming from California. I don't get trees like they have, and we're hanging out there just ham radio in the woods, hanging out, drinking some beers, having fun. I cannot say enough about the Huntsville Ham Fest.
It's pronounced Huntsville.
Thank you, Mike. The Monsanto campsite, if you can get a spot there, that's fantastic. But if you can't, just go there in the evening. Just go there. Go to one of the pavilions. You'll see some ham nerds. Go hang out with us, please, because that's where we're going to be. It's going to be awesome. Every year, it's awesome. Every year.
And somebody in the card or the Toads Discord said they had to drop out today and they had to give up their cabin. So definitely call Montesanto and see if you can get one of those cabins. I'm going to stay in the hotel, but
yeah, you and I both, Dawn. It's going to be awesome.
Yep.
All right. So, question from Jay. Just got my technician a few weeks ago. KJ5BNF. No question, but testing for my general next Saturday. Yes. Good job. Good job, man. Good job. Next question. As a new general, what are some good practices or tips for a new ham on HF? listen. Listen and listen and listen more and keep listening. There is a tempo to so many things that go on in ham radio. And the best thing you can do is just like imbibe all of it via your ear holes and understand how it all works and then participate. That is the biggest thing I can say. If anybody has anything else to add, go for it.
Well, the thing I would add though is don't let it intimidate you either.
Oh yeah,
go
that's
ahead,
true.
go ahead, key that mic up when you've listened a while and you understand what's going on. Then go ahead and key up. And even if you screw up a few times, there are plenty of people out there that'll help you get through it. So don't worry about that. Just listen, understand what's going on, what the exchanges are, how things are rolling, and then go ahead and key up and try to do what they're doing. But if you're not perfect, everybody will help you get there.
One thing I would add is when you hear DX and you're excited, make sure you're still in your general class band. It's easy when you first start to hear somebody a little lower and call them, and then they realize, whoops, I'm out of band.
Yeah, and
well said.
I remember Ham Radio Dude did that by accident, and he got so scared that he sent a letter to the FCC. You don't have to do that. Just don't do it again. So don't panic. Just don't do it again.
I suspect most of us
Everybody
have done that
does
once in our
that.
career. Yeah, exactly. Most of us have done that.
It's not a big deal. Just know you made a mistake, learn from it, and move on. It's not a big deal.
Hey, another good thing
if you have questions, ask.
Digital Rancher, go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say, and when you get an email from a certain somebody that calls you out for transmitting out of band, just ignore that email.
Oh, yes. Oh, I love Oh, man, I love you, man.
Put the delete buttons.
Amen, brother.
So the reality is that everybody makes mistakes. We've all done it. I've done it probably on a live stream. In fact, I know I've done it on a live stream before I got my extra. It happens. It's not the end of the world. Just don't do it again. That's the answer. The reality though for HF, particularly for generals, is listen often. Make sure you understand what the exchange is, particularly for a contest. But if it's just a rag chew, hop in there. Absolutely. I agree with Dawn. Dive in. Please use the radio. Make contacts with people. Get active on ham radio. That's the best thing that we can hope for. Absolutely.
Yeah. And if
Here's the cool thing: if you're listening to a conversation, a rag chew that like you're actually interested in, just when there's a space, just say contact. Don't say break. That's a bad thing in ham radio, but just say contact. Engage them. Let them, give your call sign. Let them know, hey, I'm a new general. Just got on HF. I heard you guys.
Tell them.
Interested in what you're talking in. Yeah, tell them, dude. I tell you what, dude.
Give them the story.
People know that you're a new general, and like especially like you're their first HF contact, dude, they're gonna be like, oh man, we're so glad to pop your cherry. Congratulations for your general. Welcome to the HF band, dude. It's so much fun. It's exhilarating.
Yeah, and what the suggestion I would have too as well. Every Friday at 8:30, if you get in the Discord here, go to the HF Net deal and look and see when we're going to open the net, and come and participate in the HRCC net, because that's one of the things we're there for. I mean, we all kind of check into the net. So there's a protocol there where you give your call sign to Evan or whoever the net control is, and just listen, you'll get it. But come in there, and if you've got any trepidations or anything like that, we'll all be there to help you through it, and we're more than happy to help you with it.
Actually, Dawn, thanks so much for saying that. The HRCC net on Fridays specifically for HF, high frequency, is going to be where you want to go for, the thing is that, like, if you got the radio set up, use it, go nuts, like, have fun, get out there, get on the air. That's the important part. But if you want to join a net, please consider the HRCC net. It's a lot of people that are just welcoming for ham radio. There are people that you possibly know on our Discord. If you join us over there, that's the best way to get started from my point of view. That's my point of view. So
one last thing, we were all new. So the other thing is, don't everybody, no matter how accomplished they sound, they all had mic fright when they first started. So don't worry about it. Just get in there and you'll get over your mic fright if you have that or whatnot.
Yeah. So there was a question from KQ4IEM. Will Huntsville have some good deals on new radios? So every time there's a show, there's usually a sale that gets pushed out by the major manufacturers. But is it a good deal? That's going to be up to you. It's not going to be like necessarily the best deal ever. Some of the best deals I've ever seen is Black Friday 2019, right before COVID kicked off.
Mm-hmm.
We haven't seen those dips since then. Like they're like it's just not a thing right now. At the same time, there are some deals to be had, not necessarily on new radios. Huntsville Hamfest has one of the biggest swap tables area, all in air conditioning. You can just walk up and down, take your time, take a look at everything. And if you don't know, if you think you found something good, find another ham from your club, or hell, come ask me. Come tap me and say, hey, is this a good deal? Let's go talk about it. I'm happy to help you out on that. I really am. I really am. And if you don't buy it, I might.
Look at what happened with the FT5 at Dayton, though. It was $300.
Oh, that's a great deal. Yeah, great deal. Killer deal.
I'd be curious to see if they do that at Huntsville.
Yeah.
Excuse me, Huntsville.
Yeah.
Great point, Mike. Great point.
What I was going to suggest is if you're out at Huntsville, come out to Montesano Park before the show and sit down and take a look at what people have been advertising, and we'll go over it with you.
Don, that's a beautiful point. So, again, remember, Huntsville Hamfest is Saturday and Sunday. Friday night, a lot of YouTubers get into town, and we go up to Monsanto, and we hang out there. It's kind of like a pre-party. And they set up radios. They get a lot of stuff out there, get going early, have a lot of fun. Come out, try the radios. If you're interested in HF, get out there and try them all out. That's a great point, Don, because there's going to be a ton of stuff out there that you might not have time to sit in front of, and all these guys will be like, yeah, absolutely, take the wheel, go for it. It's going to be great.
A lot of us are there Thursday too, so come up to Montesano State Park.
There you go.
Follow, if you're into APRS, watch Ham Radio 2.0 KC5HWB on APRS, and we're driving together. We'll be live streaming. You'll know where we are when we get there. But I think we're going to leave. We'll probably leave Wednesday, I would guess. We haven't finalized the details, but usually we get there. I think we got there like Wednesday midday last year. Got everything set up, and then Thursday was just let's just relax, play radio. So, like, you gotta understand, everybody's welcome at the campsites,
please,
especially the Ham Radio 2.0 campsite. But like we hams literally take over Montesano State Park campgrounds for Huntsville, and that's why all of us are like, Huntsville's really like, it's the most fun. It's not the biggest ham fest.
No.
But we have the most fun. We have the most time to actually like interact with the viewers, and just it's more relaxed that way. And that's just why we love it so much. It's just so much fun.
We love Huntsville. It's a fantastic show. It is literally the friendliest ham fest. That's their quote. I'm taking it because it is exactly what it is. If you go to the pavilions, you're gonna have a great time. It's gonna be awesome.
Yeah, I may be an idiot, but I'm leaving out on Monday, and I'm planning on being there on Wednesday. So I should be there.
Man, you're gonna be there?
Yeah, sorry, Mike.
No, it's awesome. I'm happy to see you.
Yeah, and I'm planning on being there from Wednesday through. I think I'm leaving out on Monday, either Sunday or Monday.
All right, another question. We already said that about Huntsville. Is an SDR Play a good alternative to a TinySA if you have one already? Yeah, because it's free software. So the SDR Play has software for running a spectrum analyzer using the SDR. Yeah, absolutely. Go nuts. Go nuts.
So,
In fact, a lot of my live streams, I feature that as my SA and use that in the testing. So go ahead, Don.
Yeah, I don't want to be rude, but did you see TC Fitz's question in his super chat?
I did. I was going to get to that after this one.
Sorry. Sorry.
You're good. You're good. But thank you. Thank you. I appreciate it. Keeping me honest. All right,
Well,
TC Fitz, it's time. A $20 super chat. Thank you very much for sending that. Buddy Pole versus Buddy Stick Pro for use at home until I set up a permanent antenna. No problem setting up and taking down for my weekends.
Buddy Hex. No, sorry.
Yeah. Well, TC Fitz, with your $20, can I add $1,200 on top of whatever you're about to talk about? So the reality is that, like, I'll just give a shout out. The Buddy Hex is pretty awesome. With that said, it's not a permanent antenna, and neither is the Buddy Stick or the Buddy Pole. They're not designed to be permanent antennas. They're designed to be something you set up and you use for an activation, and you take it down. It's also designed to be able to, like, drop it, adjust it, and then put it back up, right? So I think, here's me talking right now. I think the Buddy Stick is going to be a lot of fiddling. You're going to be messing around with it to get it on band a ton of your time. You're going to get it on 20 meters, and you're going to be like, all right, we're good. And you're going to go on the north side of 20 meters. You're going to be like, oh, I got to readjust it. And they're going to go on the south side of 20 meters. Oh, I got to readjust it again. I want to get back into FD8. If you go with the Buddy Pole, you're going to do less tuning, but you're still going to have to adjust it for band changes. So every time it gets dark, you're going to have to, like, drop that thing and then tap it out to be the right, resonance on the dipole frequencies that you want to be on. I don't want to take any money away from Buddy Stick, Buddy Pole here, but have you ever thought about just having an end-fed half-wave, like just a permanent installation end-fed half-wave, get it up as high as you can, and then go with that?
Or go with one of those car dipoles, or
Adam K6ARK makes some of those things, right? I mean, like, there's just so many options you have right now that I want you. Okay, take the time. Like, wake up tomorrow and wake up and think about, like, I want to go to a space where a radio is, and I'm going to turn it on, and I want X number of bands. If that's the life you want, if you want to be able to just, like, hey, I have multiple bands at my fingertips that I can just then you probably want a multi-band antenna, something like an end-fed half-wave, at least to get up on the air and have some fun with. I love Buddy Poles. I love all the things they do, but they're temporary antennas. They're not something you want to leave up, right? That from my point of view, they're for going portable, right? So think about that. Go ahead, comment. Go ahead.
For the guy that wanted 30 meters on an 80 to 10, he could make a linked system and tune it to 30 and then add the 80 back to it.
Oh, I already have the antenna. It's 10 through 80 and half wave. It's just 17 and 30 just don't want to. It does high SWR on the radio and drops it down to about 5 watts. So those two bands just aren't usable on the antenna. That's all it is. I just have to get something else for that.
I do have a anecdote from field day on that. We had a FTDX10 that a guy was using, and he was having all kinds of trouble. And it had to do with the way that the counterpoise was sitting on the infed.
Yeah, you shouldn't have the counterpoise
Okay,
sitting
I'll
on
have
the end fed.
to.
I'm just
Yeah,
saying that he had
the
issues.
counterpoise is below it for me.
All right, let's take another pass here because I'm gonna turn into a pumpkin at 9 my time. This guy wants to watch something, possibly his brother. So, oh, you okay? You're sliding in here, Ben. We already talked with you last week. Okay, he's
Hey,
fully
sorry,
trekked out.
I was making water, but what was the question about the buddy pole and the buddy stick?
Oh, okay, yeah. Let's go back. Hold on, we gotta go back. Hold on, where is it?
Was that for a home installation question?
I think it's like a semi-permanent antenna setup. It was from TC Fits.
Oh, okay.
No, it was temporary until he gets a permanent. So it would be up for a few weeks, probably, or maybe a few months.
I got it. Okay, here you go, Mike. Buddy Pole versus Buddy Stick Pro for use at home until I set up a permanent antenna. No problem setting up and taking down for the weekends. What are your thoughts?
Okay. So I don't own a Buddy Pole, but I do own the Buddy Stick Pro. And N8YO would disagree with me, but I think the Buddy Stick Pro is like the hardest antenna to tune. Whilst portable, it's a freaking nightmare. Because of that raised counterpoise.
Mike's throwing shade right now.
I'm not throwing shade. This is just my experience.
That's true.
And I own. I've found 2 more antennas since I did that. How many antennas video do I own?
All right.
I forgot about the Slink antenna, and I found another 10 antennas. So I actually own 62 or 63. I don't know. Anyway, Wolf River coils. I got to give a shout out to them. It's going to be a lot easier to set up than the Buddy Stick Pro.
Mm-hmm.
A lot easier to tune. Well, I take that back. They're going to be about the same to set up.
Yeah, come on, Mike. Come on.
Tuning. The Wolf River coil is exponentially easier to tune. When you're on 20 meters and you're like, damn, I see a station on whatever, 17, 40, who cares? Tuning the Wolf River coils is much easier. And I think the Wolf River coil Silver Bullet 1000, which does like 80 through 6, is like $130, maybe $150 for the whole kit.
Hello?
And they're phenomenal. They're phenomenal antennas. So I would say if you're in that situation, get a Wolf River coil, and that's just my 2 cents.
And I have to agree with Mike on that too, because I've had. And by the way, what about Mike? What about that one that's just like the 17-foot whip with the 40, the short 40 meter loading?
So yeah, they call that the Sporty 40, and I've only used that once, and that's actually a good option because the Sporty 40 is just a coil, and it's cheap. It's like it's in the $30 range. I mean, it's just the coil. You still need the tripod and stuff,
right?
So if you want to get on 40, you put the Sporty 40 on, and then you add the 17-foot whip. Or actually, it's for Wolf River coils, it's a 213-inch whip, so it's a little bit longer than 17 feet.
I don't disagree with you, but you're talking about somebody who's going to make this a permanent antenna. So he's going to have to adjust it at night and add the Sporty 40 at night to get on 40.
You're going to have to do that with the Buddy Stick.
Oh yeah, that's true. No question. But you're literally talking. You're taking the element off the top to put the coil on to do 40 and slap it all back down.
If you can't unscrew a whip at ground level, you probably shouldn't be a ham.
Wow. Yeah, all right, here we go.
We're talking about.
Yeah,
this is easy stuff we're talking about.
Yeah, it screws in like the tripod is low to the ground, so you're not reaching.
It's on the ground.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got to bend over to do all of these activities.
Yeah, it sounded like Josh was talking about reaching up to do something.
No, none of this is elevated at all.
No, I didn't mean reaching. I just meant you got to fiddle with it. So
yeah.
For the longest time, I have said I love portable operations. I think everybody should have a good portable setup, right? Have a
Here we
good
go.
portable setup. But there's nothing better in your pajamas and wearing your boxers to roll out into the ham shack and turn the radio on and it just be on the air.
Yeah.
No,
But that's not his
futzing.
question.
I understand. So that's why I went back to saying to TC Fitz, get yourself a good end-fed half wave, put it up on the air. That gets you multi-band
I completely
capability.
agree.
Okay, so that's where I'm going with that.
I have two 80-meter end-fed half waves in my house.
Yeah,
those are my QTH antennas.
So that's what.
But that wasn't his question. His question was between these two antennas, what should I use?
Right.
Well, and then I guess the same point because I threw in the Woofer coils.
Yeah,
different antenna. He's talking about a little vertical.
You can't come at me. You can't come at me. You can't come at me.
I can a little bit. I still got a little wiggle room here because he's talking about a Buddy Pole or a Buddy Stick Pro. It's still a very compact antenna. They use loading coils. They're short. Even if you put a 40-meter dipole Buddy Pole out, that's, I don't know, 30 feet of real estate maybe, versus an end-fed half wave for 40 meters is 66 feet. Maybe he doesn't have that.
TC Fitz has spent more money. TC Fitz has spent more money to say not a permanent antenna, a weekender only. A weekender only.
Well, you could throw up an end-fed half wave is still going to be the fastest antenna to put up, and it's multi-band.
That's true.
So you can put up an end-fed half wave. Just do that.
But
if you're going between Buddy Pole and Buddy Stick Pro, get a Woofer recoil.
What do you think is a better performer between the Buddy Stick Pro and the Buddy Pole system?
What's the mask?
I have almost zero experience with a Buddy Pole.
Okay.
I own a Buddy Stick Pro. I've used it several times. Not my go-to. I'm the wrong guy to ask about that brand because I know it and I know what they are and I know what I use and I put up a freaking DX Commander.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, spend 15 minutes and put up a DX Commander. That's the answer.
Let's add more confusion. Adam, please repeat your comments. Adam,
a base-loaded vertical will never beat a full-size antenna. So if you have the room to put up a full-size antenna, be it a dipole, a link dipole, a trap dipole, a vertical, end-fed half-wave, an off-center fed dipole, a doublet, you're gonna the more wire you have in the air, the bigger your aperture to capture RF, the better it's gonna work.
Of course, but that's not the question.
No, I get that, but I just liked adding that in to smoke screen, just obfuscate the crap out of all this.
That is a true statement, and it's good to hear you, Adam. So let's go back to 40 for a second, though. Just take that 17 foot vertical, the telescopic whip.
Mm-hmm.
All you got to do is shorten that. Get an analyzer. You can tune that puppy up in literally a minute to change bands. There's no coils, there's no taps, there's no loading. It's just resonant from 20 meters to 6 meters, depending on how short you make it. And counterpoise wires, of course.
All right. So a weekender only situation. And we're talking about Buddy Pole. I would go with the Buddy Pole. And hear me out. If you go with the Buddy Pole, you pretty much have all the pieces to make a Buddy Stick. If you have a proper tripod, if you buy the tripod from Buddy Pole or you already have one, you're going to have the ability to get that up enough in the air, and you may have to guy it. And by the way, every bit higher you can make that thing is going to make it work better from wherever you're at. So that would be my 2 cents there. On the flip side, The buddy pull is going to require you to bring it down every time you want to change the bands. You're going to have to give it the devil ears. You're going to have to give it the devil ears because you're going to be changing both of those coils every time you want to mess with it. You're going to have to space them out equally for that dipole that you want. So if you want to be on 40, you got to space it out. If you want to be on 20, you got to bring it back in, that whole thing. The buddy stick, for me, I've activated multiple POTAs with the buddy stick. You just have to go out there and do it. You have to futz with it, though. You got to mess with it. That's how the whole system works, right?
Comment?
Go ahead,
And
Mike.
the same applies for that 17-foot whip, too.
Oh, yeah. And actually,
the
God, I love that
17-foot whip is
17-foot whip.
exponentially easier to tune.
I like
than
the
fussing
17-foot whip. I
with,
do.
With the raise, dude, I'm telling you, fussing with that Buddy Stick Pro counterpoise wire, the raised counterpoise, is a nightmare.
And
it's more work for sure.
Without the coil, the buddy stick and 20 through 6, that 17-foot whip is a efficient antenna because there is no coil. It's exactly the right length.
And that's why you get the
as long as you have a decent ground plane. The ground plane's
right. Yeah, you have to do that for a buddy pole too, or buddy stick.
The other problem with the buddy pole, and I have the buddy pole, it's fine antenna. One of the benefits is you also get 2 meter, so that's kind of fun. But one of the biggest downside to that antenna, from my perspective, is it's almost $500. And if you're just buying this for a temporary weekender, that's a lot of money to spend for that type of situation.
A Wolf River coil is $130.
TC Fitz is back with another $20 super chat. And he says, "Thank you, Adam. I guess with 6 acres and a forgiving wife, I should just do it right the first time." TC Fitz, I was already telling you to do it right the first time. I told you to... but also Adam deserves all the credit. So give Adam the credit. That's true. He's amazing.
We all agreed on that.
Yeah, I know. I don't know. So, oh God. If you're telling me you got 6 acres and we're bickering over a buddy stick or a buddy
You should
pole,
be having an antenna farm.
Right?
At least 2 beverages.
So here's
okay.
TC Fitz
in a duplex, and I have 2 80-meter end fed half waves. Come on,
TC Fitz. So I appreciate the super chats. I super appreciate them. Thank you so much. But come back with what your antenna budget is. Tell me how much of your money I can spend for an antenna system, because we're dabbling in the dip bait area. Like you're talking high seas adventures right now for fishing. I need to know how much you want to spend with 6 acres. The sky is the limit, man. We could do all kinds of crazy stuff. You gotta tell me.
This is why.
What do you want to spend?
This is why you stay late night for the crash course after chat.
Seriously, because like I every time we get these questions, we think it's straightforward, but then we get this wild variable. Oh, I got 6 acres. Well, oh my God, I can go nuts with 6 acres. Let's go. How much money you got? Let's go.
Oh, and I'm a billionaire, so yeah, there's that.
Yeah.
And if I remember right, he lives in a good area of California because I've spoken to him before, and his land is prime for an antenna farm. He could put up hundreds of well, not hundreds of antennas, but he could have 3 or 4 very good HF antennas up there.
See, this is what I'm talking about.
Could he?
To be fair, let's throw in. We haven't talked about, but a fan dipole.
Oh. Yeah, a full loop on 6 acres.
Right,
full wave loop. Do whatever you want.
Meters.
Go nuts.
End fed half waves are noisy. If you can put up a fan dipole, that's even better.
Oh,
they suck to put up.
Tom with the rhombic.
You need 3 points to put it up, but
Tom with the hot rhombic comment.
Here's what
antenna
happened.
from the
We've opened the
antiquities,
antenna doors.
fantastic antiquity, rhombic. Go rhombic. What?
I have the charger.
Yeah, you should ask him if he wants to recreate the W6AM setup.
Oh yeah,
A
my guy
simple
on
Mad
Signal Hill.
Loop would be okay too, though.
Yeah, there was a guy that, and there's a picture of it in car. He has a it looks almost like a hex beam, but it's a set of rhombics, and all of the rhombics or the entire setup is on or is done through 3D printing.
Nice.
So he sets up this spreader system and all this stuff for the rhombics, and supposedly it's 80/6, but
you guys have missed the DX Commander phased array.
We didn't miss it.
Why?
Well, we just haven't gotten there yet.
It's just the point of, like, if you have 6 acres, tell me what your budget is. Like, I want to see
Signature
dollars.
18 times
right?
like 4 and phased array.
Well, but you're also semi-limited to one band if you're going to do a vertical phased array too, right? So
yeah,
again, like there are certain considerations here, right? Like that's what we're looking at.
Not if you set 4 of them up, and surely there's a way to do that.
There is, but it's only like there's a friend of Rolly's. If you go watch one of Rolly's videos, he has a phased array on 80 meters, and I mean those suckers are huge. Now, everything else he does with a very, very, very large dipole, like it's way over, like it's almost 3 links of 160 meters.
Yeah, but that's a doublet, isn't it? That's a
yeah, it's a doublet. It's doublet, right?
And it's got a dustbin for a ballon on.
Yep. Well, it's got a huge transformer on the bottom of it.
Yeah, it's got like something about the size of a dustbin.
Yeah,
It come off a medium wave transmitter, I seem to remember.
Of course, you have to be British to know what a dustbin is, but yeah, I got it.
Trash can.
Yeah.
A
larger trash can. Yes.
That thing's huge.
It's freaking huge.
Rob made a half a rhombic for
man.
like next to nothing.
Well, oh God. So I want to make a point here because I feel bad. We got so distracted with his comment. Ham Radio for Non-Techies was in the house, and I just want to give a shout out to him. Thanks for coming in, man. And I'm sorry we can like pitch it over to you and say hi. That bums me out. I'm sorry about that. We got too focused on this one antenna problem. That, bums me out a little bit. So thanks for hanging out, man. I appreciate it. By the way, TC Fits, you don't have to super chat, but I appreciate it. Send another super chat. 1K to 2K next month. More with planning. That is his budget for the antenna system. What do you guys say?
Keep an eye out for a tower that somebody's given away. That's a good way to go. You can often find a used tower for either nothing or cheap, and it's a good way to go.
Yeah, but that's if you do all the work yourself, because and then you're assuming that in the city that he lives in, that he doesn't have to do city planning and get all the plans and everything filed with the city. For me, if the tower is free, if everything's free, it'd be $6,000 to $10,000 to get all the crap done through the city, and get the hole dug and all that crap. Because I ain't going out there and digging a hole in Texas heat.
Yeah.
So yeah, 1,000 to 2,000 won't get a tower. It might get, maybe it might get a mast up, but
if you're talking about putting something up and setting it down, the DX Commander to start with, and then you can lay it down and do your thing, and then keep planning and plotting your next evil thing.
Yeah, because honestly, that's true. Because true. When I lay my DX Commander down, I don't take it apart. I just simply disconnect the radials and lay it down. And if you don't need to take it apart, you don't have to take it apart.
Thank you, Mike.
That Ian guy does that. He straps it. He takes it off the base and just ties it up to his drain pipe. So
Well,
it gives him one piece.
Thank you, Mike KMRD, for the super chat. I appreciate you. You did not have to do that. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
It's my privilege. You do so much for the amateur radio world, and I love these debates.
Well, we're debating, so I got to run to the restroom, so I'm going to leave it in the hand of my son. Everybody behave right now. I'll be back in like 2 minutes.
Oh, swear.
You don't have your earbuds in. You can't hear anybody. You can't be talking. Come on.
Thank God.
Has he been studying?
I'm going to turn on the PTT right now. This man can't take the
Oh, dude, we got it. Let's go. Somebody pull up the technician test and let's Q&A him.
All right, you guys keep talking about the antennas. I'll be back in like 2 minutes, so give me a second. I'm gonna throw it to the memes. You guys keep watching.
Yeah, that signature 9's pretty easy to take down. You just disconnect the one center lead and just pull it off the post.
Center lead. Oh, I know what you're talking about. Yeah, I just disconnect the radials myself.
Yeah, well, the signature 9, there's no the radios stay there and the coax stays there. You just disconnect the coax from the drive plate and just lift it right up.
Yeah, and to be honest with you, I basically never take mine down. So mine has literally been up for 4 years. Literally, I only take it down about once a year just to go over it. And the last time I did it, I had to take it down to replace the plates.
Yeah, no, I've been messing with it, trying to get the tune right.
Yeah. Well, yeah, once you do that, though, you don't really need to take it down again. And now I'm only using mine for 40 and 30. I don't use it for any of the rest of the bands because I've got the hex beam now.
You got the buddy pole?
Well, and forgive me, but yes, I've got both a permanent hex beam in A4RR and I've got a buddy hex. So I've got both antennas. The buddy or the NA4RR is a permanent build, and I'm still actually working on that because I need to get it off the temporary mast I put it on, and I accidentally didn't know what I was doing, and it's stuck on there, and I need to get it off and move it over to the other mast with a rotator on it. So I have a problem, and I'm doing it all myself, so it's kind of tough for me to manage the hex beam and try to force the hex beam's hub off of the mast that I dropped it onto. I don't know why it's stuck, but it just won't come off of it.
Is it aluminum onto over a steel mast?
It was galvanized steel, so I bought galvanized steel. But I see the thing was they kept saying that the size of the hub would go over a Schedule 40 pipe. Well, when I tried to get a Schedule 40 pipe, the only Schedule 40 pipe that I could find that was not plastic was galvanized steel. They did not have, nobody in town had an aluminum one. And I finally ordered an aluminum one, which is what I've got now. But unfortunately, what I had at the time was a galvanized steel one. And the galvanized steel all came with plastic caps on them that when you remove the plastic caps, it has a screw thing for screwing two pieces of pipe together because it's made for plumbing. So I set it down and it just slipped right over that those threads. But now that I try to lift it off, it will not come off of those threads without somebody holding it and pulling it down in order to get it off. And I don't have a second person. It's just me. So even though it slipped on very easily, it will not slip back off.
All right. So I'm back.
Mm-hmm.
And I got an interesting question.
Sure.
So where is here's an interesting one. Can hams do radio shows for profit?
No.
Am I doing a radio show right now?
Oh,
You're not doing it on the air.
Ah, there we go. Okay. Go ahead. Anybody want to talk about this? Go ahead.
Yeah, but there are guys that live stream all the time that are getting paid by YouTube, right?
Right.
And I've heard that argument, but I don't have an opinion. I really don't know.
So the reality of it is, if I said to you, dear watcher, that let's say I'm doing a live stream, and I said, everybody that's doing a QSO with me, I will charge you $5 for a QSO. That's probably down the business end of ham radio. I wouldn't do that. If I was talking to my son and he was also in ham radio and we were doing some kind of business venture together and we're using ham radio to communicate in the process of doing our business, that's also in violation of using ham radio to do a business.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, I am doing ham radio. That's true. I am on FT8, but at no time am I exchanging any money for making contacts with me. I don't care. Nor do I care if you watch my videos. Nor do I care if I make money off of YouTube. Nor do I care if you become a Patreon. I appreciate all of that, and it allows me to do many more things than I normally do from that, accessibility that you all provide me. But that's not the thing, right? And that's what the oh god, no, not peculiar, pecuniary interest exists with ham radio, is that there has to be like some kind of pecuniary. Thank you, Paul. There has to be some kind of
money,
right? But it's specifically like it's almost like hand to mouth is kind of how I look at it. There has to be some kind of like quid pro quo through all of this, and there's no quid pro quo with anything I'm doing. I make contacts with you. I don't care. If you send me a super chat, I super appreciate it, and we will talk through your comments like we did with TC Fitz, and obviously my man KMRD. But at no time is that related with ham radio, from my point of view. But if you'd like to make an argument otherwise, go for it. I'd be welcome to hear it.
I think in support of what you said, though, if the FT8 session you have running right now was to entice people to watch your video, then you would be entering into that area probably.
Sure.
But it seems incidental, so that's not the main focus of it. So
even if I had like a link in my FT8, that would just be like, watch my live stream and me making FT8. I can see where you're going, but I don't know that I agree. But yeah.
And I've had guys, and I to me this is perfectly fine too. They'll be going, "Oh, hey, I'm live streaming this. If you'll go back to so many minutes, you can listen to the QSO we just had, and hear what you sound like." To me, that's perfectly fine too. Even though you're saying, "Hey, dude,
I love it.
I'm listening to." You can come and watch my video now, and I get watch hours because you're. I mean, who cares?
So this is the best. Patty Leather came back. Thank you so much for replying. I super appreciate it. And they said making money on YouTube is not doing it on ham radio, I would think. Yes. So the way you wrote that, I'm not going to... Calm down. You're tapping me. I can't talk while you're tapping. Hold on. I don't think you're negative on me, but I would like to point out, if I may, there are a myriad radio companies that spend tens, if not $100,000s of dollars to market to you, the ham radio operator. And then in that, right, that's just that company, right? If you look at what it costs to put an ad onto QST magazine, YouTubers are a lot cheaper, right?
Right, but the only function is if it's done over the air. Anything related to amateur radio, that can be as commercial as you want, as long as it's not done over the air.
So what is the difference between me doing a live stream and talking about a radio, or making a video about it and posting it, versus it being printed pages on QST? I would argue nothing.
Nothing. You'd cross the line if you got on a net, on a 2-meter net, and then said, "Hey, everybody, watch my live stream tonight because you're monetized." So then you would be crossing the line.
I would not do that.
Let me give you an even better example. I think go to HRO and have them let you use the radio, or them use the radio in front of you and say, "See, let me make a contact on this radio so you can see how it works well, so I can then sell it to you." Now that's even more crossing the line, I would think.
And I agree, they should never do that.
Yeah.
Well, but I mean, let's take it to the.
I mean, I don't have a problem with it.
Let's take it to the nth degree. Like HRO, I have a good relationship with them. I can borrow radios from them if I want to. So is my borrowing a radio from HRO and then making a video on it and posting that, is that a violation of the pecuniary interest?
Absolutely not.
Yeah,
absolutely not.
I have a comment.
Go ahead. I would love your comment, Mike. Go for it.
So when I was doing my 10-meter Technician Tuesdays, I had someone come on and accuse me of pecuniary interest and blah blah blah. He actually ended up starting like QRMing me, and he was telling me that I was breaking the law by making money via ham radio. But then he started keying up and causing interference on the 10-meter frequency that I was on.
Mm-hmm.
The thing is, and hindsight's always 20. I mean, I'm a live stream and I'm nervous.
Right.
Like, what am I going to do? I mean, I of course reacted to him and told him he was stupid. But the bottom line is,
Go ahead, Mike. Sorry.
I'm not. That's okay. I'm not on the air saying, CQ, this is K at MRD. We're live streaming on YouTube. Come pay me money. What's actually happening is I'm live streaming on YouTube and bringing that YouTube community over to HF. It's completely the opposite of what this guy was accusing me of. And I told him, like, here's my email. Call the FCC. Do whatever you got to do.
Right.
I mean, this guy, and I think he called himself the general or the captain or something. A couple guys heard him and communicated it back.
Like the insurance guy?
Kind of found out who it was.
That sells insurance with Shaq?
So that I actually made a thumbnail of it, and
Well,
the following week we called him out on the channel. And I was like, "Hey, this is this guy. He's on. I got reports that he's on like 14 dot, whatever frequency on an. He's talking. So it turns out that like somebody heard him on a rag chew in like the extra portion of 20 meters, talking about how he was like ragging on me and QRMing me for doing a live stream on YouTube.
Yeah.
The reality of it is, and the legality of it is, and I'm not a lawyer, but we are on YouTube. And people are watching us on YouTube, and they're going to ham radio because of that. It's not. Now, if I were on ham radio and calling, "Hey, CQ, this is K at MRD. Come watch my live stream on, K at MRD radio stuff. We're live streaming right now, and come give me some super chats." That's not what was happening. So clearly he's in the wrong. But there's going to be those people that just, some people literally have nothing better to do with their life than to be an ornery bastard.
One point is that I think to my knowledge, the FCC has never made any commented on the whole YouTube monetization and amateur radio. But take the FAA for example. The FAA. So, people who were using their drones on their YouTube channels essentially said you needed to have a 107 certificate.
That's true.
Because that was commercial. So, that's the FAA, that's not the FCC. So, the FCC
that is a completely different animal.
Well, my point is, though, the FCC has just never commented about the monetization element So I'm just saying, until they do, this is all academic.
So first of all, I love the fact that while we were doing all this diatribe, Andrew Becker sent me a super chat for $5 or $4.99 that said, "More monies for loopholes." So I don't think it's a loophole. And so hear me out. Gordon West makes books. There's plenty of people that make audio books. There's other people that make videos even. There's plenty of people that make a thing that educates the masses on ham radio. And they profit on that. That is their business, right? That's what they do. So just because we make videos and we are served by the ads that are played on those videos doesn't take any violation to the pecuniary interest of amateur radio, because we're not running a business on amateur radio. We are simply providing information. And if you looked at anything on the internet and YouTube on providing information, that's a huge portion of it, is just providing information to people. What's that? I heard Mike.
Other guy.
No, I was just going to say the point is you're not on the air, so you can do anything you want related to. Yeah, that's it. All comes down to are you on the air or not? Yeah.
Right. So if before my live stream I hopped onto ham radio and went on 20 meters and said, "Hey everybody, I'm doing a live stream and click all the links because I get paid money," like that would be that's probably in violation. Even if even if I hopped on the live stream and said, "Hey, I'm about to do a live stream," I don't even think that's a violation, to be honest, because I'm not doing
over
business.
the air.
I'm not doing business.
When you read the examples, it's like and they talk about it when you read like the technician manual and the general manual.
Right.
Like, and they specifically touch on this when they talk about like, there's traders nets. Like it's okay to buy, sell, and trade. You just can't negotiate the price. That's where the line is.
That's actually not. I don't think, Mike. I disagree. That's not the line. There is no line about negotiating the price. That's one of the old. That's one of the old amateur radio myths.
Maybe that's a net thing then. But you certainly buy, sell, trade all day long. I don't know. My understanding is you can't negotiate the price, and that's using the amateur radio for the pecuniary whole thing. So that's kind of what I took out of that. But
I guess,
being on YouTube and all that, no.
I guess
you
point
can't order a pizza over the auto patch.
Absolutely.
Right.
No.
Actually, you might
hold on. Yes, you absolutely can order a pizza over the auto patch because you don't own the pizza place.
Well,
your interest.
We were. It was against our rules, so there were rules against it on our auto patches, but.
Right, but that's the point. People have local rules and they have their own rules and run that.
Nobody uses auto patch.
I was just thinking to myself, what has Sterling been up to for a while? I was literally just thinking to myself, I have not heard from Sterling in a while, and Sterling jumps in to add this comment. The only thing that matters is the nature of the transmission. And that is true. So it is the proper ham radio answer of it depends. It depends. It depends.
That's the answer to every legal question. It depends.
What if you're wearing depends though?
Yeah. As always.
You like send a TV image of a pizza at $5,
Comment.
Yeah, go ahead.
Did they have the same?
From a legal standpoint, pecuniary interests only apply if you're actually using the airwaves to make money. So what you do, what most YouTubers do, and they derive income from, is ad revenue, which is not directly related to what your activity is. In other words, if you're on YouTube and you're saying, "Hey, do me a favor, buy this antenna or buy this coffee cup," it could be construed that is using the airwaves if they're broadcasting over
if I'm transmitting.
Right, if you're transmitting. So it really comes down to the activity that triggers the pecuniary interest is actually picking up a mic and soliciting business and receiving money from that business.
I had this discussion with Bob Heil I'm not joking. We got on the phone. He's like, I love what you're doing, but you seem to be too in bed with all this YouTube stuff. And I said, okay, Bob, let's walk through this. I'm not transmitting when I'm doing any of the videos that I do.
That's correct.
I'm educating, and I'm making videos. Hopefully they're value added and you all enjoy it. And if they were not value added and you did not enjoy it, I would not have the views that I have and the subscribers and all that stuff that goes along with it. So there's a certain amount of like, I have a process here. Look at what I've achieved, that we can say like, hey, yeah, no, okay, so this is a medium to derive and provide information to people that are looking for it, right? It's not like books, it's not like audio books, it's not like any of that stuff, the traditional media that like Gordon West does and all that stuff. It's different, but at the same time, a lot of people get a lot of value out of it, and sometimes they're like, hey, here's a super chat, and that's great. We love that. They don't have to do it. But
no,
they
you
do.
don't.
Yeah.
But if you look at what ARRL makes in income
Thank
from
you,
publication,
Paul. Thank you.
Just if you actually look at their tax return and they break it out specifically because of the pecuniary interest. Okay, and that's why they show the $2.5 or $2.6 million in revenue, in net revenue, from the sale of books. And you tell me everybody who has bought the big book or the antenna book or all the other stuff that is sitting on my bookshelf, that when I first got into ham radio, it was like, hey, I have to have that book because I want to learn about antennas. And that's what I read from cover to cover. And if that book would cost $26 to publish, I'm going in the publishing business.
Right. So
because it probably costs them $2 to print it, probably another $4 to bind it, and $3 to ship it. So they probably have $11 in cost and $26 at retail.
Perfect example.
So unless you're getting on the air, what the FCC does not want you to do is become a commercial enterprise, like a broadcast station, like a television station or a radio station.
Yes.
Those television stations, radio stations, make the majority of their income from advertising revenue, not from putting out the news or putting out programs. Okay, so you're developing content, and 20 years ago, YouTube didn't even exist. 10 years ago, people didn't even know it existed. Okay, so in other words, somebody like me, if I hadn't been a follower of Fieldcrest Revival and seeing you with Mike, because I'm a gun guy, and I was like, hey, you know what? Maybe I should look into those Bowfangs and get one of those radios for when the SHPF and then COVID came. So, I'm one of the pandemic, and I'm a panda baby. So, it's okay. It's okay if YouTubers make money. It's okay if they make revenue from the advertising. You can't, all these people who have 6 million or 5 million. You look at Garand Thumb; he's got
oh my gosh,
$6.5 million.
I would love to be the Garand Thumb of ham radio.
Right. Here's the guy who was in the Air Force, and he was making so much money from YouTube that it's
he
like,
retired.
Why do I have to be in the Air Force? I'm 34 years old. I'm going to make $700,000 on YouTube because he has one video that has 3 million views or 4 million views. So the business model has changed. The whole paradigm has changed. You look at something like comedy, and you have comedians that are now going direct to YouTube with a special with 4 or 5 million views, and now all of a sudden they're getting 8 cents or 9 cents per view, and it's substantial money, and it's okay. We do not live in communist China. or in a country where it's not okay to make a profit. It's okay to make money, you know. And when people pick on Mike, if somebody says to Mike he's making money because of the big geeks and little geeks, God bless them. Everybody who bought one of those should be happy with it because it's a good product. And it was something that was innovative.
Capitalism does not exist in ham radio.
There's
you fill a niche. Somebody comes out and says, "Okay, I'm going to spend $700 because I want this product."
Paul, you said so many things,
It's
and
It's
you're right.
business.
Everything you said, I think, is accurate. But I want to distill 2 points, if I can. The first point, the ARRL and making books. If I turn a book into a video that I make, not saying I copied them, but let's say I'm pretty close, right? Like I'm in the ballpark. Like I decide to make a video that is very closely related to what they do, which is print media. I make a good video. Lots of people like it. Let's say I make thousands of dollars. I make thousands of dollars. But that's just
like comic books.
That's
Think
just
of it
information.
like comic books.
That's just information that
small
I
little tidbits.
You guys are talking over each other.
I threw it out into the ether. Like let's say I made that video series. I threw it out and it's like, okay, everybody got to enjoy this. It was super popular, and then there you go. Now I love the addition of Mike K8MRD with the battery stuff, because look at every major brand, every one of the companies that makes things for ham radio. He's doing the exact same thing. The only difference is that he's marketing on the best platform, which is YouTube, to talk to people directly about the product that they're selling. He just happens to remove the middleman. He removes the YouTuber because he is the YouTuber.
Exactly.
He is the
It's
YouTuber.
direct to
But
consumer.
I've never gone on the air and said, "Hey, somebody go buy Big Geek."
Why are you talking about YouTube?
Right. It all comes down to what's on the air. So I mean, Josh, is somebody telling you that because you may make some money on doing a YouTube video?
Wait.
They're just uninformed. That's all. Just simple uninformed.
Wait. So Mike, you've had this before. I've had this before. This whole topic got started by people that are upset that, you know, we make money off of YouTube videos and whatnot.
Well, yeah, I likened the guy that was QRMing my live streams because of this. Yeah.
Yeah,
Right,
no,
but
unless it's
you
on the
know
air,
what,
that's just ignorance. That's all it is.
Well, there are a
Of
lot
course
of
it is.
ignorant people. There are a lot of ignorant people in this world, and
Jealousy,
unfortunately, in our hobby, most of the people are pretty intelligent, and they understand that we are consuming content differently than the generation before us. Okay, before you just go back 10 years. I'm not talking about half a generation ago. The only way anybody could get any information about ham radio was to buy Gordon West's book or ARRL's books, and that's how you learn. That's how you would study those books and then drive to a ham radio club where everybody's sitting there and smoking and eating their hot dogs, and sit in front of the executioners, and they're sitting in front of you while you're taking your test, and you're sitting there saying, "Okay, I want to get my license." And now it's just become much easier. I mean, you look at what Glark did. Glark changed the way most people get their license now. Instead of having to go drive to a testing center, they sit in their bathroom and they can take the test sitting on a toilet, as long as there's no papers around.
We still do real tests, but yeah.
Comment. Yeah, but we've changed the way people develop content and absorb the content, and the content providers and the people like Jason and Mike and Josh should be commended because they bring more people into the hobby. They bring more people into the consumer pipeline. So people like ICOM and Yaesu, of course, they're going to support these these guys with product because it's just commerce. It's just part of the way business is done today. If you don't get involved or get in front of it, you're going to be left behind. So it's like it's like when people say, "Well, what's the best handheld radio?" You know what? Most people don't even use handhelds. Once you get a general, it's like my Yaesu FT3D is sitting in my office because I never use an HP anymore. For me, it's all about it's like putting up an antenna and try to talk to people that are further away than 15 miles or 20 miles.
Well,
so the business has changed.
So there's a question, and so all this good thoughts and all that stuff, there's a question that ultimately comes down to is is there a dollar amount as a ham? Like if you heard what I made, for instance, a dollar amount per hour or something like that, that you'd be like, oh, I'm mad now. Right? Because that's kind of what this person is asking. I hear some YouTuber guys are making $5 to $10 a month. So get that out of the way. Jeez. Let me just say, if anybody has over 100,000 subscribers, you're probably dealing in thousands of dollars. Let me just say that, first of all. Right? Stop. That's the reality. That is the reality. Once you breach $100,000, 100,000 subscribers. It's $1,000 a month. Let's say that. That's close in line with what a lot of people are making. I mean, that's just.
What if you're making 10,000? What's the difference?
Yeah,
if you're making
okay. Well, so that's what I'm asking. That's what I'm asking.
Make as much as you possibly can. Who cares? I mean, what's the problem? That's not illegal. Make as much as you possibly can.
Well, I mean, but tell that to half of my subscribers when then they start commenting you got that for free. It's like, well, yeah,
I think you're wasting your time because that's ignorance. So that's just.
Let me chime in here.
Yeah.
Because this is kind of a sore subject for I feel a lot of us. I am now an entrepreneur. I have a business.
You are.
K8MRD LLC.
You are proper.
I legit have an LLC. I manufacture battery boxes. I manufacture little poles for the Buddy Stick Pro. And I'm a YouTube channel. So and I come from my past career is in the remodeling industry. Work with a lot of contractors. That was my day-to-day business, was working with contractors. So, and everyone praises and everyone says, dude, if you can work for yourself, man, that's the greatest thing in the world. And that nobody would argue with that sentiment, right? But then you do it on ham radio. So we make videos to teach and to coach and to educate and to share our passion and what we learn and what we fail on. I just did a video on the DX Commander that I just posted Friday. It was kind of a learning experience. I failed in some things, I learned in other things, and I shared that with the community. And I'm an entrepreneur now, right? So why? Because I'm a ham radio operator, does everyone, I say this loosely, not everyone, do those people who would otherwise commend you for going out and doing what you love, you took a risk. Guys, I make a tenth of the money that I made in my former job doing YouTube. It's peanuts to dollars, right? Why is doing ham radio so vilified when you can, when I could just as easily, maybe not just as easily, but let's just go with this. When I could just as easily say let's start up an HRO in Houston and I will sell ham radios, or I will sell coaxial cables, or I'll sell antennas or battery boxes. Big Geek, K8MRD.square.site. Why all of a sudden are we vilified because we're doing what we love? And there's that quote, what is it? If you do what you love, you'll never work a day in your life.
Amen.
Like I'm literally doing
bullshit.
that
By
right
the way,
now.
that quote
That's
is
not true.
complete crap.
It's just not
It
true.
is
Oh,
complete crap.
Oh no, no, no.
Oh, I'm going to disagree with you guys on that.
Oh, I
you will
work.
turn.
I work.
You will turn anything you love into something that you don't love once you have to do it every day of your life. I have
I'm
been
not
in.
there yet.
I have
I
been in
gotta
so many
disagree.
situations.
Josh, you're not there yet either.
Oh, I am absolutely there.
No,
Mike,
otherwise, you would
come
stop
on.
the Hammer Your Crash course. You're not there at all. You love this. We
No,
love
no, no.
this.
I do. But
And
hear me out.
a byproduct of doing what we love is that we get paid for it.
No, Mike,
so
Mike,
how
hear
is
me
that
out.
a
Hear me
crime?
out. Hear me out. Please, can I? Let me. I literally have two best examples of why this is true. These animals that are next to me. I have produced less videos in the last month because of my kids, right? And so yes, I am gifted and benefited by so many people that watch my videos. But if you ask me where could I spend my time more beneficially, it would be to my kids, right? And so then when they say, okay, the best thing you can ever do, so the reality. So sit down, please. You're driving me crazy. Let me explain this.
I'm chill listening to this.
Okay, chill listen. You're down, bro. So the reality is that anything to scale on YouTube requires not just making good videos. That's step one, right? But then you have to monetize it, right? And so then now you're doing affiliate links, right? Here's the affiliate links thing. And then you have a merch store, and then that's hamtactical.com. And then you're potentially producing a thing. And so, Adam, Adam's still here. So Adam is a good example, right? Because Adam went from having I would say one of my favorite YouTube channels, doing amazing content, and then parlayed that into making a business. And then I don't know that he's muted right now, but I would almost bet that if you ask him, are you almost in indentured servitude to producing the kits that you want to make, right? Because that's the reality of it.
You have
I have a great.
You
I
can
have a
probably
great
guess
response to
just
that,
how
Josh.
many emails I get every day.
Right.
Why are your kits out of stock?
Right.
Comments?
So the reality of this whole thing is that the better you are at doing anything, you become crippled by the thing that you were good at making. And crippled is the wrong word. Crippled is the wrong word. It's just it has to be your most. It has to be the largest focus that you put into it if you want to grow it and continue to grow it. And sometimes,
Let me throw this in here.
Hold on, Mike. I'll give you a shot. I'll give you a shot. The reality is that a lot of people have this guy has an alien blaster on his head. So this is a draw on my time and what I do, right? So there are so many things that get in the way of just here's the thing I'm doing. So all of a sudden my time becomes really valuable. And I can literally turn that into a dollar quotient that I could be taking away from my kids or what I could be doing in my actual career. And that is the remainder that turns into YouTube videos and all that other stuff, right? Because that's what I got left. That's all I got left, right? So Mike, go ahead.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So I'll use my brother as an example.
Sure.
He owns a business. It's called Bee Nectar Meadery. Mead. You were talking about mead
I love
earlier.
your brother. Yeah,
You like to
that's
make
right.
Mead. Yeah.
I had to
So my
to
brother-
drink all this mead before I could get on the plane.
Yes, you had to. It was
I
terrible,
had
I'm
to.
sure.
I had to, Mike. I had to.
So my brother started off as just a home brewer. When we were still living with our mom, he started brewing beer in the kitchen, and the whole place smelled like hops. It was terrible. And then years later, when stuff went south, he was good enough at what he was doing. He got laid off from his job. He had just had his newborn baby, my nephew named Chase, and he got laid off. And him and his wife were drinking. Him and his wife were drinking some of their mead.
Yeah.
And his wife was like, "You know what, Brad? This is actually really good." what say we sell this? And he's like, you know what? Why not? We got nothing else going for us. And now my brother owns Bnektar Meadery, Bnektar, one of the biggest meaderies in the world. So, and I mean, I don't speak to him frequently. We're not that close. Actually, today was his birthday. I called him and didn't even answer, the son of a bitch. But
this story has a happy
example. It does. He is an example of, and when I talk to him, he's got 18 million things going on. And Josh, you and him would be really good friends, I'm sure. He created like a whole, he's a computer guy. So he created he designed software to run his meadery so the tanks know what temperature everything is at. They know, like, it's all computer control. He calls it HAL, actually, ironically enough.
I like it.
So
I like
he created, that's a thing. So he only has a few employees in the actual production side of things to monitor. I mean, obviously there's bottling and all that stuff and HR and everything that the business entails. But every time I talk to him, his mind is racing at 1,000 miles an hour. And I got this plan, and I got this plan, and I got a meeting with the city of this, and I got a, and I was early. I worked for him for a couple of years, and I helped launch the brand as a sales manager. But I know that if he were doing anything, because he's working for himself, he's doing what he loves. And even though he's up till 3:00 in the morning at the meadery developing something, it's like if you like, I'll be in bed and I'll have an idea and I'll be like, God damn it. And I get out of bed and I go into the shack and I turn the soldering iron on, and like, it's the same thing.
Sure.
So,
sure.
That's why we say, like, if you do what you love, you're never working a day. Of course you're working. Absolutely. I listen to your live streams when I'm making Big Geeks. It's a lot of time on my feet.
Sure.
My back hurts at the end of the day because I'm there for 8-10 hours, literally standing over my workbench making these battery boxes. But I'll tell you what, I work for myself and I don't answer to anybody. And that is the greatest thing in the freaking world. Now, granted, I'm poor because I don't make and sell enough, but that's on me. But to be a business owner and to do what you love and not have to answer to anyone but yourself, you only have yourself to answer to because of that. So if you want sales to go up, you work your ass off more. That's it. That is the way it is. And I my entire life, since I'm probably 12, 13 years old, I've been on some form of like waiter or tip or bartender. I've always been some kind of commission, you get out of it what you put into it. So I completely understand the whole, if you do what you love, and now I do what I love. I make YouTube videos and I have this small business on the side, and I have legitimately never been happier in my entire life than I am right now. And I make far less money.
Comment?
Go ahead, comment.
Yeah, I've been listening to this conversation. Just want to jump in on this one. So you shifted the whole thought. Initially, when you initially started off here, was a comment is like, hey, your ham radio people, are we like, making money from it from that aspect?
Yeah.
And then it kind of shifted over to this aspect. And the reason why I would say no is because I think we kind of went from that aspect of it is you're not on air, you're not transmitting. Because the majority of us here, we're adults. There's always going to be somebody who wants to put you down based upon something.
Yeah, I mean, that's reality.
That's where you're piling on from this aspect. Because you think of it this way, I subscribe to pretty much the majority of the YouTube people here because I want to learn from the hobby and everything like that. As you said before, you're not transmitting. So it's just the new evolution, the new technology, is just the way that the world is changing. The sad part about it is give this another 10 years at this rate, the FCC might try to figure out a way to monetize it from the back.
Yeah, you're right.
They might
You're
do that.
right.
The same thing we talked about drones. So from this, you change your you know, people are always going to want to put you down for what you're doing because you're doing great things. Because think of it, if you gentlemen weren't here doing, gentlemen and ladies weren't doing what you were doing, think about where the hobby could be. Go back in the time machine when they were point of time saying, is ham radio dead? It's not. It's alive, it's vibrant, and this community is what keeps us going. This is like the equivalent to, it's a global radio club. So it's like, hey, we joined this club, we get together once a week, we kind of do that same thing. So that's what this is. So yes, if your ability, and again, because if you went online and said, hey, I need you to join my Discord to do this, that would be a different thing. But if there was a money gate, but there's no money gate here. There is nothing here that says, I have to give to do this. That's me saying, hey, I'm going to give you a couple of bucks. That's what I want to do. So yeah, people will always put you down. Think of it from a regular job, whatever you do. Mike was going down his point. Someone's always going to slam him for something that he loves to do, but he doesn't do that. He lets it rolls off and he keeps going. So yeah, you're changing the topic here, guys. You guys are doing the right thing, and yeah, you're doing the right thing.
On the ignorance of people, I have two really quick things if I can add.
Well, one second. Can
okay, I'll wait. Go ahead.
Can you give me your name really fast? Or your chat name would be fine. It doesn't show up in Discord. I just want to give you a shout out. Like
Overland, it's Overland 4G.
Overland 4G, man. That was a very nuanced point you made. That was very nice. I really appreciate it. I think Mike probably appreciates it too, but I don't want to speak on his behalf. But man, I loved it. I loved it. Go ahead, Mike.
This was Tom. Okay, Mike, you want to go ahead?
Okay. Oh, no, I made my point. Charles,
right, thanks.
KB2 BSG. I got my technician in general over 10 years ago. Made my first contact 2 weeks ago because I stumbled on K8 MRD and Ham Radio Crash Course YouTube. You guys brought me back in the game. That's what it's all about.
There it
Congratulations.
is. There it is. All right, go ahead with the other comments.
Just two really quick things. I think there's an element of people either have and we sort of touched on this, but people either have read the rules and especially if they've been a ham longer, they have like somebody mentioned about the thing about the pizza place. There's these old saws in amateur radio that just aren't true. You can make a hell of a video just by doing amateur radio mythbusters on all the things that hams think are true that aren't, and that really have no foundation in rules. But anyway, I digress. But my point was that sometimes people either don't understand the rule, or they're misinterpreting, or they heard one thing where somebody at a ham club told them, and they think that's the way it is. The other issue of making money is, especially if you're just doing it without the radio involved, is unfortunately a lot of it's sour grapes. That hey, if you're making money and I'm not, then they just have sour grapes. Well, this is a hobby to me, therefore you shouldn't make any money. As if ICOM and Kenwood and Yaesu sell their radios for no profit.
Thank you.
That's the part.
And actually, that's a fantastic parlay. I'm going to take a quick second, and then I'll go back to the chat here. So we got a super chat, right? Super chat for $2. Thank you, by the way, for the super chat. What do you think about remote ham radio with this? So here's the wild thing. If someone decides that they're going to pour $50,000 of cement and tower and antennas and computers into a space and allow you to borrow the time that they could just be operating, charge them for the time, right? And there's some amount of dollar amount like that you agree to because you agreed to it, to remotely operate from their station. Oh yeah, totally. I totally support it, because no one's forcing you to do ham radio from their exquisite station that they're providing. But you step forward and say, hey, I want to use this station, and then you're gonna pay them hourly for it. That's just That's just the reality of it. And that's what remote ham radio does. And to be honest, I really love remote ham radio for that reason, because it's actually a business of people setting up a really good ham shack, and then they can transmit around the world, basically. That's awesome. Don't we like that? Do we not like that? I don't know.
I think they should make money. Ray and companies should make money as a hand over fist as much as they can, because it's the exact same thing we've been talking about here.
Every contest station, every one of the big contest stations have considered doing remote ham radio at this point. Every one of them. It's only going to be more prevalent from this point on that people will be able to pay per hour to get a contest station under their heels that they can operate from. There's so much software that allows that to happen. It's going to be the norm at this point. It's going to be everywhere.
Right, and I think what I said sour grapes before, I think, and I've been, some of these people have called me out when I've said this before, but I do think there's also an element with remote ham radio that the people are so adamant, some people are so adamant against it. And I think there's one element that is, you know what, just because I can afford to use remote ham radio and pay the per minute charges, and they can't, there's an element of that. I think we're lying to ourselves with people when they're so adamant against it. Say, well, it's like, okay, are you saying it because you just disagree with it? Are you saying it because you can't use it, or what's really the motivating thing for people being so against it? And I don't understand why they are.
Oh, okay. So you don't have a disagreeing point. You're just saying.
Yeah, no, I'm absolutely supporting. I absolutely agree. I'm not the counterpoint in this case.
See, that's the thing. Is if we all just relax a little bit, ham radio could explode under our generation. It could be the generation that reinvigorates ham radio into something that would be Counter-Strike live streams. I don't think everybody gets that yet. The long vision for ham radio is it is an actual tool that you turn into a sport, right? This is primed for gamer live stream. We just have to figure out how to get it there. We got to get everybody on board with this. It's already there. It is already that thing. We just need people to be like, oh no, yeah, I completely see the vision. We have to turn into this vision. That's what's waiting on. It's not the capability. It's the humans in the way. It honestly is. We could literally
we're already doing that.
We could literally, hear me out. We could literally have live stream commentators. Sterling, N6 NOA, right? Could literally be doing commentative live streams on contesting right now. And we just don't have it. It just, everybody gets in their own way of growing this thing. It could grow. N6, oh God.
It could grow exponentially.
I'm killing myself on Sterling.
N0 SSC.
N0 SSC. Oh, thank you. It's always Adam. It's got my back. I appreciate you, man. Thank you. But seriously, think about it. There is so much that goes into what we do and contesting and all those things. And there are unused cycles on the live stream space that are not being used by ham radio right now. I think I'm one of few that's on Twitch. We should all be on Twitch. We should all be diving into that space and turn it into it's literally a gaming medium. How do we do that? We all gotta be doing the live stream thing where we put a camera on the radio, camera on ourselves, and we talk about what we're doing. The thing is that it's gonna happen whether or not I'm pushing it, because that's the reality of the future. That is what people will do in the future. I'm just here right now. I may be a little bit early. I'd like to get everybody in on this, but that's what's gonna happen. It is the reality.
That absolutely is, Josh, and that's a great point, because think about anything that you do or anything that you buy, anything you want to know. What are you going to do? You're going to go online. You're going to either read an article about it or you're going to watch a YouTube video about it. And we are the new generation of ham radio operators, and we're presenting it on a platform that is so big and so accessible. Think about like ham radio in in the 50s, so like let's go like back to when my dad was a ham. He's like, dude, he's like, I had to build a receiver, and you got the crystals, and he's like, if you want to talk on a frequency, and by talk I mean like CW, like you gotta pop a different crystal in there, and that's like you got one frequency. There were no VFOs. That didn't exist back then. And they're reading like, it's like the next magazine that comes out to see like it. I mean, it's like the next magazine of like Nintendo Power to solve.
Right.
How do you get through the Legend of Zelda maze? That's where we're at right now. Like our generation,
it's crazy.
Is so far ahead. And there is jealousy from the OMs. You get it, but there's a lot of the overwhelming response is positive. There's always going to be the few OMs that are just, oh, that's the way it was, and that's the way I liked it, and I walked up. I had to go 2 miles uphill through snow to go to school both ways. Blah blah blah. Right? It's always both ways, right?
Well, I mean, the reality is, like, if you talk to somebody in person, yeah, absolutely, it's like a civil conversation every time.
Well, none of these OMs none of these keyboard commandos have ever come up to me and stated their case. I would love for them to, because they're like, if you had to learn how to drive a car before automatic transmissions, you'd be pissed now that 5 years later, these kids that are turning 16 now, well, they have automatic transmissions. I didn't have to take a Morse code test. That's not my fault. That's just the way it is.
Right.
So, like they look down on you for, well, I had it harder in my days. Well, screw that. But we're paving the way. We're producing so much content and putting out so much, again, positivity and inclusivity in what we do. Just look at the comments. Look at the comments just on this live stream. How many people have said that they got licensed because of like just your videos alone? So
yeah, Mike, go ahead with the comment.
I mean, as someone who took a really big break, when I took my test back in '88, granddad, right, I had to take the equivalent of the top license in America, and then do Morse to get my license. So I basically had to do the whole thing in one go, and then do Morse. These days, you've got a great lead into it. I mean, both countries have a great way of doing it, where you take someone off the street, you show them the manual or the video that you two make, and they get an interest in the hobby. Did it kill ham radio, doing this nice, easy lead into it? Hell no, it's made it 50 times more popular.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that.
And the other thing is, the problem with the old curmudgeons like me, or the not so much like me, is I took my test, like I said, 40 odd years ago. I found when I come back into it and I started watching your videos and Mike's and a few other people's, I know diddly squat. Because even the rules that I go by in my head now are 40 years out of date. So you've got these old curmudgeons who go to these clubs and they're ham radio, and the kiddies with their FT8. They don't even know the regulations anymore. So you might, back in their day, they may well, what you're doing now may well have been illegal, but the rules have changed 10 or 15 times since then, and they've not bothered to keep up with what has changed. I'm not defending them. it's their job as licensed radio hams to keep up with the regulations. You know, the FCC aren't going to come out and beat you over the head and say you must retest or reread the license because they've changed it. But it's their job as a licensee to keep up with whatever license changes there has been in between the first time they got their license and now. Because I found that everything had changed. Every single bit of my license had changed in some way or another. And as I say, recently we've just had another discussion document from the people saying we want to change it again. So yeah, well done, guys, for one actually, you know, making this sort of content to bring up to us older guys that, hey, guys, things have changed, guys. You really should get your shit together. And two, providing the knowledge so that we don't have to bother trying to work our way through the ministry gobbledygook of the license.
So that's the reality of all this, is that Mike and I and Adam and everybody out here, we can drop a video tomorrow about something we're passionate on, right? A lot of the infrastructure, the old boys network, they can't do that. They can't turn something around the way we can. We can't distill information the way we can. And I'm not trying to toot the horn here, but to a little degree, the reality is that everybody that's out there making content on YouTube or the social medias, wherever they are, is that they can be more Johnny on the spot with any information that comes out. That most of the major, the ARRL, for instance, that has to go through like a committee, like multiple people, before they can drop something and be like, oh, this is news. The democratizing of information has disappeared in ham radio. We can literally go direct to people that are hams, you're watching right now, and give you information as we see it. And then you can take it or deny it or disagree with it, but at least you have it. And that's a place that we've not really existed in for a very long time. And that's, I think, one of the biggest benefits. Go ahead, Paul.
Hey, what do you? Go ahead, Paul. I'm sorry. Yeah, I mean, ham radio, I think, actually operates like a perfect market. You know, the people will either subscribe and spend their money and become a follower of different people on YouTube, or they will say, "Hey, I don't want to watch that content." People have a free choice, you know. And when people get into the hobby, you know, the least expensive thing that they do is subscribe to different YouTube channels. You know, you're literally talking about, you know, the cost of one antenna. You can support a YouTuber for an entire year, for an entire year. And somebody like Mike, who, when he started his channel full time, I remember that 7-minute speech where I thought you were literally ready to jump off of a bridge, because it was like the rug got you moved to Texas.
Still
and the
there.
Rug got, right.
Oh, he's still there. Yeah, he's still on the ledge.
He's on the ledge, but you know, just back maybe an inch. But the truth is that, you know, if you do what you like, yes, sometimes it's rewarding, and people don't work for themselves for free. You know, when I started my business, you know, I was the one who put the capital at risk, and I was the one who thought, oh, we're going to start making money in a year. And it literally took us almost 4 years before we were profitable. And I never looked back until I got sick. And when I got sick, you know, having been through what I've been through, you reevaluate your life at different stages. And this is a hobby that takes up a lot of my time, just watching YouTube videos. And sometimes I look at the content and I go, it's really good. I think it's really useful. And sometimes you look at it and go like, okay, this is content that somebody put out because the way the algorithm is fed, you have to have so much production on such a schedule that it stays in front of your audience. And when people get involved in ham radio, they have to make a committed effort to learn a certain amount of material to get their tech license and then get their general. The hardest thing I've had to do in my adult life is studying for my extra. And, I did that extra by the end of April. And I took my extra, and it's like, hey, I'm an extra.
Congratulations, congratulations.
But it's an actually, when I see somebody get their general or their extra, every single time I put a like on it, I congratulate them, and I say, good job, because it's something that you have to encourage. But the whole market will either tell you that you're doing it right, or they're going to tell you you're doing it wrong. Either you will get subscribers, either you'll hit 300,000 by October, November, or you won't. And the more people who come in, and the more word of mouth, that builds your channel. It's like when Jason hit 100,000, how excited he was.
Yeah,
you could see it in his face. You could see it in his demeanor. To him, it was like, okay, I'm on the hump. And it's when you hit 1 million subscribers, that's when you can tell YouTube, these are now the rules that I'm going to follow. The guy who has 1 million subscribers is different than the guy who has 100,000 subscribers. And at 1 million subs, all the rules change. And at 5 million, it all changes again. So you can have Hickok 45 doing gun videos that are monetized when you have all these
if I had a shooting range in my backyard, do you know how many videos I could make?
Right. I'd have Gun Sunday too. I mean, I would say, hey, I'm going to do a video on the one gun I will not get rid of. It's clickbait, and you sit there and go like, yeah, I want to see what the 7th grade history teacher or English teacher, I forget what he taught. I think he taught.
So what's the question? What is the one gun you won't get rid
of?
And why
the
is
one
it a
gun
Colt?
I won't get rid of.
And why is it a Colt revolver?
Right. Why? You know that? It's like, hey, we're trying to get revolvers back in the market. But it's like, is that the real reason, or is it really he doesn't want to get rid of it?
Wait a minute, you're going to carry a revolver?
The Colts are the best. Colts are the best revolvers.
Are we gonna go down this?
Oh yeah.
Come on,
Michael.
We need to change the subject here.
Mike, I'm older than you are. I am older than you are, and I carry a revolver. I
have your CW key too. So tread lightly.
I'm waiting for you to do a video on it.
Yeah, I don't think
it's actually one of the ones that's up next. I need to get it out of the bag.
You should.
K6ARK said I probably don't have as many videos as Hickok. The difference is that Hickok never daily live logged. I did that for 600 days straight.
Right. But that also built your channel.
But I'm not cool though. I'm not like cool. I just learned a lot from it. So I got to wrap this up because I literally have the kids bouncing all over me right now, and they want to go watch a video. I think we've already picked it out. So the point of this is that, like, I love you all. I love everybody that's watching this because I just want to share the information that I have. Right? That could not have been better timed. That could not have been better timed with the climbing on. That was perfectly timed. I did not plan any of this. The point is that, like, ham radio is challenging. And if you don't have people that can't help you out in person, then consider online. Like, that's where a lot of people are. Is just get online, join us on things like Discord, our Discord community. Join us on the live streams, all of them, not just me, Jason, the Ham Radio Workshop, the Ham Radio Clubhouse, Toads, the TO, temporarily offline with the ham nuggets.
Hang on, let me cut you off.
And K-Murder. Go ahead, Mike. Go ahead.
Hang on. So RCMTB in the chat, he was asking a question about a 10-meter antenna He just responded back to me. I'm a 13-year-old ham who is getting into HF.
Uh-huh.
I just wanted to give him a shout out, dude. Like, you are in the right community. This is where you need to be. And if you have any questions, we are absolutely more than happy to welcome you and include you.
But I will add on to that if I may.
Add on. Go ahead.
I'll add on to that. If I had this kind of community support, I got my license. I was a technician when I was 12. If I had this kind of community support when I was that age, boy howdy, I would have had a lot more fun in my earlier years of ham radio. So keep it up.
I guess the point is that, like, radio is what you make of it. There's so many people on YouTube right now that make videos about they make videos about doing ham radio. You need to find the thing that you're passionate about and then dive in on that all the way. It's really easy for me to say. I got literally 2 kids on the side of me. I got to wrap up because I got to go hang out with them because, you know, life happens and the hobby is the thing you do on your free time. My live stream is my hobby and my ham radio is my hobby, all that stuff. But the point is that the best thing you can do with ham radio, as always, when you talk to other people about ham radio, is have a goal, what you want to do with ham radio, and a budget. Please give us a budget. That is the best way we can help you out. This live stream got a little bit sentimental, but I think it was really valuable because I think we've covered very clearly that this is not an FCC violation of anybody making videos or anything like that. And we're just trying to help. So if it's helping you, thank you so much. We appreciate it, as always. So I guess that's where I'll end it. I think it's my sense. Yeah. Go ahead.
One last thing I put in the chat, the 13-year-old Remote Ham Radio has a youth network where you can use their stations for absolutely free. So you can sign up for that. No sign up fee, no per minute charges. They have a really good setup of youth stations that are completely separate from the other stations that you can use again for absolutely free. So
I got a question. I will let other expectant fathers or fathers already to answer this, but I will go first. The question is, I know you're wrapping up, but as a expectant father, how do you find time to play radio with a baby or babies in the house? Okay, turn it off. Do not give me a content strike with the radio. Jeez, my son's playing a radio in my background, playing country music. Okay, so here's what I'll tell you.
Having kids is overrated.
Well, okay, Paul. Yes, that's true. That is also true. Okay, so the reality to your answer is very much make it as efficient as possible. Be able to drag an antenna out and be on the air in less than 30 minutes. Be able to have all your gear placed. If it's a bag that you all are, think of your go to the hospital bag that you did with your wife when she was giving birth. Congratulations to you. That is ready to go with ham radio. Be ready to just deploy at any moment. This is a lot of fun because you can stay up at late nights thinking about all those crazy little antenna contraptions you're going to put up. If you get totally squared away with being able to get up on the air in less than 30 minutes, you'll be able to do ham radio anywhere. It could be POTA, it could be a soda, it could be in your backyard chasing POTAs or sodas. It doesn't matter. The trick is the efficiency of time. Now, here's the other thing. If you own your home or you're renting and you can put up an antenna, that is always going to be faster than anything you can do portable. There's no bag that you can make that is efficient and fast that will replace having an antenna on the roof that you could just get on the air immediately on. That's what I have. That's why I have an antenna on the roof. It's not the highest antenna, but it works, and that's all I care about. And that's what I make contacts on. That's the point. There you go. Yep.
And
from the
more.
sun that is the one that keeps me from making all the videos I can. The big boy. Go ahead, Chad. Go ahead.
And if you have a newborn, when you have to walk him around or him or her around for 2 hours around the house, you can always just stand in front of the radio, shake it, rocking them to sleep because they absolutely won't go to sleep too.
I'll tell you my hot trick on that is you barricade the open door. You leave the door open. Always leave the door open. It's a challenge. But then you barricade, you use your body to block the door, and then the baby will have to try and climb over you, and then you just sleep. And they can't climb over you because they're like a 2-month-old, 3-month-old, 4-month-old. You can get away with that. That's how you catch up on sleep. That was my hot tip.
I have something to say.
That's a really good idea. 29 years too late. Thanks.
I was going to say, you really should just hire a nanny and let the nanny take care of the baby.
Let him run around, yeah.
That's what we did.
The other thing is make as much noise as possible when they're sleeping so they get used to it and you don't wake them up.
Oh my God!
You'll wake mama up. You don't want to do that. So.
Put your headphones on.
Oh, and you should get a cage.
Guys, everybody, have you ever heard of dim sum? Do you know about dim sum?
Yeah, we have dim sum here.
Dim sum is the best place to take a baby on Sunday morning. Yeah. If they can sleep through dim sum, that's a good baby. Oh, that's a good baby. That's me. There you go. You're not in the video. There you go. Yeah. Now you're 10. You're 10. You can't sleep through dim sum anymore.
Yeah, I can.
No, you can't. But you definitely have.
I love the fact that he was aware enough that the blue thing he put in front of you was going to react with the blue screen. That was pretty clever.
Oh, no, he's totally greened out right now. Like I'm literally
green screen.
Yeah, he's totally greened out. Wait.
Proper camouflage.
It doesn't matter how good it looks. It only matters that it works.
Okay. All right.
You ready to take that test, Ben?
Ben, are you ready to take your test? You're not listening right now. Everybody's talking to you right now. Put your headphones in. Come on.
Okay.
See, in a few years, you'll have help with editing your videos, Josh.
I know. Hypothetically, right? That's the goal. They suck, though. They're horrible editors right now. They're trash.
They'll learn.
I'm good at reading.
No, you're horrible. You're horrible at editing. You're a bad editor. Come on.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Yeah, you don't know how to edit a video. All right, guys, I'm gonna wrap it up here because we're gonna go hang out and oh, you know what? We'll watch the new Star Trek movie. So Ben is hardcore into Star Trek. He is insane about Star Trek. We didn't have enough time to talk about this, but I think the talking points we went through were really value added. I don't know what you're holding up. It's literally a phaser.
I can't believe you haven't printed him a communicator yet.
Okay. Did you hear that?
And on that happy note,
you heard that?
Yeah, we're gonna keep him here forever.
Communicator?
What did he say?
He said, "I can't believe you haven't printed him the communicator yet."
Make a communicator with Bofang guts.
Okay.
I think it was a tricorder, not a communicator, right?
No, it's definitely a communicator, but I got mixed up with the tricorder, and it really sucks.
Okay, so he bugged the crap out of me to make a communicator, and I said, okay, we have to be very specific. Captain Kirk had the sweet-ass flip-out body communicator with the gold, hinge lattice thing. I'm down. Let's do that. And he's like, okay, all right, we'll do that. But then the more we talked about it, what he really wanted was the next generation tricorder with the fold-out back plate with the thing that pops out, for the medical scanning. And I was like, okay, this is not the same thing, bud. This is not. And he's like, well, how did they communicate on the next generation? I said, they used the badge. They tapped the badgey bit. And he's like, well, print me a badge. This is all turned into me just making 3D prints. This is like all in green. This is not a good example of what the 3D printer can do. In quality, it is, but not the filament job. So I'm literally like driving all, figuring out how do we make the thing that he wants now, which is a tricorder, which is ridiculously complicated if you've seen the push button bits on that. So I have to figure all that out. Okay, so the young one's here. Come here.
No.
Come here, young one. Come here, young one. Come here. Come here, young one. All right, here's the young one. The young one says, wrap up the live stream. We're going to play Monopoly Deal. So
I want the communicator, not the tricorder anymore.
Oh, you're back to communicator?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. We're good. We're done. Well, he's fighting me. All right. We got to go.
Thank you, Josh. Very informative. Thanks.
I hope this stop. Okay. All right, we're gonna wrap it up. All right, everybody, I gotta go because I'm gonna hang out with the family and play Monopoly Deal and a choose your own adventure game that we started. Maybe we'll see how it goes, but I appreciate you, and I know that I think I speak on behalf of a lot of the creators out here that we thank you for watching our content. It doesn't cost you anything to watch it. You don't have to subscribe. You don't have to be a patron or anything like that. It's just there. You can enjoy it, and I hope it helps. That's all that matters, I think, at the end of the day. So, thank you so much. On the Discord, bye, everybody.
73.
Where's Mike?
But if you do appreciate the content, you should subscribe. And
Yeah,
you
if
should
you do,
support
yeah,
the
yeah,
channel
absolutely.
through Patreon.
Mike, you still there or are you done? Oh. Yeah. Oh. I have a child.
73. Of course you have a kid.
All right. I got to go. I'm going to go. All right, everybody. Thank you, Adam. Thank you, Mike. Thank you, Paul. Thank you, Dawn. Thank you, everybody in the chat.
Thank you, everyone. We love
I'm going to
you.
wrap it up. Take it easy. See ya. All right. Stop. All right. So that's the end of the Discord. This is a completely different live stream than I ever expected. But I said, I was like, yeah, I guess. Oh, no, I'm not trying to tickle you. That was the end of the kids that wanted to be on the live stream. They're like, yes, I want to be on the live stream. So now I have kids. Come here. You can get in on this. Let's go. There you
Flying around the room.
With the green shirt.
Green shirt.
All right. I appreciate you all. Thanks so much for watching. And we'll not next week. They're not going to be on this live stream next week.
Yes,
the little pretty face. Nope.
We're gonna sneak in. Yeah, we're gonna sneak in.
Good night, everybody. Enjoy the memes.
Bye.
73.
We're gonna go back.
You're gonna go to bed?
We're gonna come back.
Oh, you're gonna come back?
Yeah, we're gonna come back next time. Yeah. The next time you do street versions.
Horrible. I hate it.
We can't do Damnation, but we can
You're definitely not doing Damnation. That's crazy. No, nobody's cussing at Damnation.
Oh, I What are you trying to hit?
Stop. Horrible. All right. Good night, everybody. This is too much.